2. Hello and welcome to Black Dragon Gaming. My name is Kadega and my cats are yelling at me. Go away. I know I told you for the first time in like 3 days. Go. Fuck off. Anyway, my name's Cat. Or at least, whatever. My name's Cat. I'm here with Mal for Weeb Wednesday. Hi.
Yes, hi. Hello.
The cat threw me off my fucking routine for these openings so hard.
Yeah, you just completely lost the flow after that.
Yeah. I think I'd have to start over from the beginning again.
Yeah,
Shit.
absolutely.
Whatever, it's fine though. Yeah. My kettle's done. It's time for tea. Yes. All right.
Yes,
so what have you been up to the last week?
Well, you and I have been mainlining Sword World.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
we have been doing that a lot.
I'm knee deep in Swirled 2.5.
Yeah. Sword World 2.
Like to the point that I've run like what they call scenarios, which are adventure modules. I've run them for myself, just sat here alone in the dark, just like reading through this thing, rolling dice, and just running them for myself to like get a feel for the system.
Yeah.
I'm that deep into this shit.
Yeah, but let's talk about that fucking battle scenario, the first battle scenario, where nobody could hit anybody.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, this was actually like genuinely the first encounter in the scenario that I ran, because the scenario is the Labyrinth of Falling Star, or the Labyrinth that Catches Stars. There we go. It's a starter set. It's meant for people who are brand new to the game on both sides of the screen, GM and player. And it involves like you have just become an adventurer. Like the narrative is that you've just become an adventurer and you go to this town and you're like, hey, you got any jobs for a new adventurer? And they're like, yeah, we got a report of a couple barbarists out near this one village out there. So if you go out there and just fucking kill the barbarists, if there even is any, you go investigate, and if there are, fucking stab them. And you're like, all right. You get out there and there's a single goblin in a cave. Single goblin. Like the fucking villagers couldn't just get some pitchforks together and kill this motherfucker, but whatever. It's a tutorial. It's fine. Sure. And I'm sat here because I didn't use the starter set comes with like a bunch of characters. Like it's like four character cards for you to use, so that like you don't have to go through the character creation thing when you're brand new to the game. You at least get a feel for whether or not you're even going to like the game by playing some pre-mades.
Yeah.
The pre-made that is supposed to be the character for the tutorial is a human fighter named Alt. And I said, fuck that. I will never play a human fighter. You will never see me play a human fighter. I am not that boring. So I used the character that I had run through the character gen rules to try and like play with this, which is a Fey Knight.
Yeah, Fey Knight.
It's like literally like the race is Fey, and I chose Fairy Tamer and Fighter and Rider as my classes.
I will say
a literal knight. It's fun. I like it.
I will point out that Captioner decided it was Bay Knight, not Fey Knight.
Bay Knight?
Yeah, as in B-A-E.
Right. Fucking okay. Yeah, that'll work, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, okay, that works.
I mean, Sir Kesamir is like hot, but that's not.
Yeah, that's not what I was trying to say, Captioner, but okay. Like, that is also my taste, so fair.
Yeah. It's fucking tall, pretty lady with a sword. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so I crack open this stone door that's at the back. It's locked somehow, but with a locking mechanism, not barred or anything like that. So, like, and the goblin didn't have a key on it, by the way, either. So it's like, how this get locked? This is not like a modern door where you got like a deadbolt on the inside, right? Like that's relatively recent. It's not a medieval thing. I just want to know like how this motherfucker got in there first place, but whatever. Tutorial, it's the central conceit. Whatever. You just ignore this kind of thing. And I'm rolling my fucking heavy ass steel dice here on my desk to do this, and every fucking round, I roll low for attacks for both Sir Casimir and the Goblin, both of them, and then roll high for evasion for both of them.
Yeah.
And I'm losing my shit in Discord DMs with Mal over this. So I had like 6 rounds where nothing happened, and then it just kept going. I did like one shot the Goblin when I finally hit it though. So there's that. Still there?
Yep.
Internet died?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Because I saw that my little fucking frame thing like went red for a second on my OBS, and I was like, hold on. Please tell me that I did not lose the stream right after we started.
Yeah, no, that would be bad. I just remembered we should probably do the shared chat.
Yes, I'm refreshing my page to get the option right now.
Yep, okay. There we
There
go.
we go.
Accept all.
Share chat, start sharing. There we go. All right, cool. Excellent. But anyway, it's absolutely ridiculous. This is the trouble with games where you roll your defense instead of just having a static defense. Like shit like this will happen.
Yeah.
I like it because it means that you can boost your defense by using skills rather than equipment. It doesn't necessarily require you to have really good equipment to be able to not fucking die. It allows for more builds, but it does bring with it the frustration of not fucking hitting anything.
Yeah.
For 8 damn turns in a row.
Yeah. Eventually, Cat banished the dice and used digital ones.
Yes, and that's it. Finally got that. I know my dice are probably pissed because I never used them because it's a D&D set of dice, and I don't play D&D anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, the only one I ever get to use for anything other than like randomly determining shit in my own brain is this one tiny D6 that I've got, and it's actually not that small, and it's also very heavy. Listen to this. That was me dropping it back into the box. Things are fucking enormous. I love them so much, but I don't get to use them very often.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing of, well, I mean, first up, you living in a small town in general, but shit post-COVID.
I probably could order another like a set of D6s from the place that I ordered these from, but I don't have any money, so I can't. I'm pretty sure that place is still open, but I just can't because I don't have any money. Let's see, it is Wiz's Wondrous Items on Etsy.
Alrighty.
Tabletop RPG and fantasy goods is what it is. And yeah, it's good shit. I also ordered the my dice box off Etsy as well. It's a I think I've sent you a picture of it before, but I don't. Well, hold on. Let me take another picture of it because like it deserves to be shown off. This is some great work.
Yeah, let's see.
It is a carved wooden box with one of Odin's ravens on it. I don't remember which one, but I think it's Hugin because of the way it's oriented.
Gotcha.
On the box. It's not like you'd be able to tell otherwise anyway. It's just like which side do they sit on on Odin's shoulders,
Yeah,
Hugin and Munin. But I really like this box. I keep all kinds of shit in it. It just stays on my desk all the time. Come on. There we go. It's sent.
Oh, very nice.
And I've got to open up I think I have it just a picture thing. Yeah, I do. Cool. Well, let me download this so I can fucking show it off on stream too. This is not made by Wiz's Wondrous Items. It's something. I have it somewhere around here. I just don't fucking remember where I put it. All right. You need to not be that big, please. Let's see. Let's fit to screen. There we go. Let me fucking pull down my. There we go. This thing. It's nice. I really like it. I've had it for like 5 years now, I think. 4 years. Or no. Other way. 6 years. There. So I ordered it before COVID. Are you also trying to show it off?
Oh no, I probably should actually, because it is very nice.
Yeah, it's a really great box. Once I find the little sticker that I got with it, because it came in late. Oh, here it is. It actually might still be Wish's Wondrous Items. Actually, hold on a second. Let me compare these fucking things. No, no, it's not. Anyway, I got a little postcard because it came in late. There was a long delay. Oh, it is. It is actually signed as Wiz. Okay, so Wiz did send this to me. Anyhow, I got a little postcard with it because it came in really late, and they included a couple extra gifts in the box because it took so long for them to carve this one out and send it to me. So this person is really nice. They deserve more patronage if their shelf is still up.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is. It's still up. Cool.
Very nice.
They got all kinds of dice bags now. And some new dice boxes too. Shaped like books, even. That's actually kind of cool. I like that. They
Excellent.
don't have my dice box anymore, though, sadly.
Also, yeah, now I see what you're saying about this image being too large.
Yeah, I mean, I took it off. I took the picture with my phone, so like it's just enormous.
Yeah.
The megapixel bullshit because we don't. I don't know why, but like phones have like kept getting bigger, like on their pictures and everything. It's like, why are you doing this? We don't need a four fucking 0.6 megapixel camera or whatever the fuck it is. That's too much.
Apparently, some people fucking use it though.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but just it being standard on every phone is just sort of like if I wanted a camera that is that good, I would specifically search for one, right?
Yeah, that's fair. But also, it's a way for them to sell cameras while not selling cameras officially.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, yes,
Anyhow,
very
like
nice.
my brain is I got a full brain of like how the Sword World's lineage of RPGs tracing back to fucking basic from D&D. I started like looking into it a little bit more today to try and like figure out, oh, why is this like this? And also I'm just interested because I'm a giant fucking nerd and also I make RPGs too. So this would be good to learn anyway.
Yeah.
And like the more I looked into it, the more I could see that kind of lineage in this world.
Yes, indeed. There's definitely like articles of weirdness you don't necessarily get from standard wizards anymore.
Yeah, 'cause, like Sword World 1.0, which is the one that would be relevant to anyone that's interested in Record of Lodoss War, because 1.0 and 2.0 or 2.x rather are set in different settings,
Yes.
right? Completely different settings. There's some commonalities, like the grass runners in 2.x might actually just be the same grass runners as from 1.0.
Yeah. But by and large, totally different settings, totally different histories.
Yeah. But like in 1.0, rounds are a minute long, just like they used to be in basic. By the way, what we mean when we're saying basic here is D&D basic, not
Yeah,
advanced D&D, but D&D basic.
Yeah.
What most people
back in the old
most people think of that as like 1.0, but it's actually 2.0.
Yeah. You know, it's called advanced for a reason. There was a basic.
Yep. And there was also an expert, believe it or not.
You know, I did not know that.
Yep.
Just a very short what I was doing, because we're going to be talking about this for the rest.
Lay the fuck down, Ember.
I have also been trying to or continuing my saga with getting Linux to work. By and large,
Oh yes, you were talking about that.
Yeah, by and large, it does work relatively well. Thank the the Steam Deck rather, because that runs on Linux, and now we kind of have this standard of, all right, even if you don't make a game for Linux, make it compatible with the front ends basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will probably be getting VTuber stuff working possibly by next week. Though whenever we do get back to Umineko, I'll still be doing that on Windows, just so I don't have to re-download it and all that.
Yeah. For obvious reasons.
Yeah, we're
Although maybe not obvious to most people. Most people have never even used more than one fucking OS, so they don't know how that works. Like a program is built per OS specifically, not per platform. Like it's not for a laptop or a tower, it's for PC, which is Windows, or it's
yeah,
for Linux or Mac or something.
yeah, and just I wouldn't necessarily know how to grab the save files, and I just don't want to bother going through all of that.
Yeah.
Even on a speed through, because yeah, you can absolutely make it speed past everything, but that is still a long
Yeah,
time.
that's a lot of clicking.
Or holding down the
I
control
wouldn't want to do
key.
that either. Yeah. Oof.
I think it's the control key. It's one of those for skip on most visual novels, like
Fucking something.
controller shift or something. Yeah. To get VTuber software, because there's no official VTuber software for Linux really that are the popular ones that work well. There's some projects that are trying to get off the ground, but money and time. But to get them working, you kind of have to have a middleman program that is reading the camera data and then giving the camera data to the program. Whereas right now on Worodo, uh, it is directly reading my camera details.
That's something that's gonna be a massive pain in the ass for me when I finally get into it. The
Yeah,
fucking camera. Because I keep my living space extremely dim compared to most people. Most people can't see shit in my my office.
yeah,
This is
no.
because I have really bad light sensitivity. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's bad enough that I just prefer to live without lights on. But that also presents a problem for cameras. So, you know,
Yeah, that's one of those things where you're at least going to have to be in lighting that most people would consider normal.
it's
'Cause
gonna cause me actual pain, like literal eye pain.
yeah, just adjusting to that. Fuck. And, because people in normal lighting are using fucking ring lights, which I will never do because I am light sensitive enough that a ring light would just bother me to no end.
I think a ring light might kill me.
Yeah, right? Like, part of the reason we didn't stream Umineko that one day is you're like, yeah, Ryukishi Flashbang would kill me.
Yeah, just absolutely turned me to ash as soon as it happened. Ugh. Which, by the way, sucks really bad for living in a desert. I went out today to check the mail, and it felt like I wasn't even wearing my sunglasses, but I absolutely was. It's real bad. I hate it. I hate deserts. This place sucks. But anyway, one of the things that's important to remember with old RPGs, especially old D&D, is that originally I don't remember which one, but there was a distinction between a turn and a round, and these two things were two different time frames. One of them was 10 minutes, and one of them was 1 minute. One
Yeah.
minute is the one that you use during combat. 10 minutes was the one that you use during travel and exploration and shit.
Yes, and we have gone back to that. Or rather, Sword World never dropped it.
For the most part, yeah. Sword World 1.0 was published a couple of years after the anime aired, so it's still definitely in that old lineage. Sword World 2.x, however, has 10-second rounds, which is still far too much in my eyes. What are you doing after you swing the one time in those 10 seconds? Like most fights, period, are going to last less than 10 seconds in reality.
Yeah, that's
When
fair.
you're using lethal weapons anyway. If you're using hand to hand, I can see it lasting 30 seconds or more. Especially if like the fighters take breaks, like in modern combat sports.
Yeah, but I think the thing to keep in mind is there is dodging of hits factored into there. Like basically any hit that doesn't hit.
Oh yeah, I know like the logic. It's like it's an abstraction of everything that's happening during combat. But being a martial artist myself, I'm like, fuck that, buddy. Like you're definitely gonna have like 6 or more exchanges of like a sword. Like when you're having like a duel, you're gonna have like 6 or more exchanges, usually unless someone makes a really, really bad mistake very,
Right.
very early. But like you're gonna have 6 or more like clashes, exchanges we call them. It's like when you swing or parry or whatever. That's an exchange. Um yeah, but like these exchanges also happen at fractions of a second. They're not happening over the course of 3 or 4 or 5 seconds. It's literally like half a second per swing kind of deal. Swords are fast.
Yeah, sword
Like,
combat
and
is
it's not just
much
fat.
faster.
It's not just swords either. It's hammers and maces and flails and spears. They're all fast.
I mean, to be
They
honest,
have to be.
like the span of time it takes you to kill something in Skyrim isn't that far off. You know,
Depending on what difficulty and level you're playing at, but yeah.
yeah, like if you're playing on a suggested like mod level, like people like the main mods people suggest, it's about right.
Especially Requiem. Requiem is very, very accurate about that, at least in terms of like time to kill and time to die as well.
Yeah, yeah. And there's actually a few good combat ones. I am patiently waiting for the mods that will come up for Oblivion remake.
I don't know, like that's a big fucking game. And I have not heard very many good things about it, believe it or not.
Oblivion remake, the just remake or Oblivion period?
The remake.
Ooh, sort of things
Yeah,
have been
I've heard
hearing.
some good things about it, but like from people that don't really give a shit about the like the friction, right?
Yeah.
Like I've definitely been hearing stuff like they didn't really update the systems at all,
Ah,
so it's
that's all.
still like super fucking clunky, which is not good.
Yeah, yeah. Like I kind of feel like this was a chance for them to demonstrate where they were gonna go with the next Elder Scrolls, in progression. Keep some of the old mechanics, but show us some new things or at least a new look.
Or even just like tighten up what Oblivion did poorly. Like no
Yeah.
one likes the persuasion mechanic from Oblivion. It
Fuck no.
sucks ass.
Everybody.
No one likes it.
Everybody who mods, pretty much everybody who mods replaces it.
It's fucking garbage. I would literally rather have like an automated skill check.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me an automated dice roll.
I also bet you $20 if they kept the same fucking lockpick mechanic as well, which
I
sucks ass too. By the way,
Yeah. I mean, isn't it basically the same thing in Skyrim? Just a
yes,
different
it's the
model?
same one as in Skyrim, as in Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4.
Yeah. Fuck that. I hate lockpicking in these games.
If you want to do a lockpicking mechanic, have it be like I think ESO does it properly, but that's also not developed by Bethesda. So,
Yeah, so that I
and
mean,
then like there's also like a tiny game that a lot of people don't know about called Last Stand Union City, and you like in that you press the tumbler specifically when you're going through the lockpicking, and that's a much better like mini game.
yeah, I forget which one it was that I played a game that you've also hit the tumblers on the locks. Either way, or hit the pins rather, pushed in the
Oh yeah,
pins.
that's right, not tumblers, pins.
Uh, But there was something like that, and that's a lot better. Because that feels good and doesn't feel like you're just kind of playing a guessing game.
Yeah, it's if anyone like watching these has watched like my Skyrim playing bullshit that I do occasionally and like seen my mod set or use my mod set, that's the fucking lockpicking mechanic I'm talking about. Is you press down the pins like in order. Or like really whatever order you want, but as long as you get the pins in the right place, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because that is at least closer and is not as aggravating.
Yeah, I just think like Bethesda's lockpicking and hacking mini games are boring as fuck.
They are
They're just
so
boring.
ass.
I don't want to interact with them at all. I
No.
always mod them out.
No, I always, always, always. Like, those things suck. Really wish somebody was making big games like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Avowed just didn't hit the thing,
No.
which sucks because I really like Aora, the world that it's set in.
Yeah, I was sitting hoping, but it doesn't feel. Yeah, it was. From what I heard, it was rather linear. Which the story being linear would be fine, but the world itself was very linear.
Yeah, like at this point, Obsidian is going on my list of like developers that have lost my trust kind of deal. You know,
Yeah, which is
they
super
haven't made anything like
unfortunate.
really good since Tyranny, and even Tyranny was like they probably shouldn't have made that one just because of like how they did it.
Yeah,
We talked about this last time on stream though, so
yeah. But uh, short explanation. They took money from one project and put it into Tyranny.
yes, without permission from the people whose money that was.
Yeah.
Not good, very not good. But anyway, back to Swirl. Um, you can also still tell that this is a different lineage of games than the modern D&D in how they write their scenarios. Because in that same starter set, I went through a few more sections of it. I actually finished it out, but each one after the first part had bad ends, like just straight up the adventure ends, fuck you kind of deal.
Yep.
And I sent Mal some snips of some of them, and they're they're like fate worse than death kind of shit.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
brutal.
You know, the sad part is now I'm kind of hoping Pearl Abyss does good with Crimson Desert.
Maybe. I don't know if I want to give Pearl Abyss any money though, because they have predatory like microtransactions in Black Desert.
That's true. If granted, if they don't put it in this game at all,
Giving them money to encourage them to do something that's not Black Desert would be good, yeah.
yeah, and like
But
if
like I'm
it,
also concerned about like the character design of Crimson Desert because in Black Desert there's titty physics on plate armor.
yeah, yeah, and
And all of the characters wear high heels.
yeah, there is
All of
also
the female
that.
characters wear high heels. There's no getting out of it.
Yeah,
It's God, it hurts me deep in my soul. Which sucks because like the world building of Black Desert is awesome.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it so much.
And we haven't seen any characters that are women from it yet, because we haven't seen much characters at all. We just have the one default, like, soldier looking motherfucker. Just to
Yeah, of
show us the
course.
physics and things.
But anyhow, like the kind of bad ends I'm talking about here are like this one that I sent you about the about the fucking like the plants.
Yeah, the pollen will put your characters to
Yeah,
sleep. If you all fall asleep, the doctor will take you and extract your mana for the rest of your life.
yeah. So the little box text says, if PCs spend more than 5 minutes of in-game time in this room, the GM will determine how much time passes for various actions. The GM should have all PCs make a fortitude check 9. No, that's the target number. 9 is the that's what that means. Anyway, PCs who fall asleep due to the effects of the pollen released by fall asleep due to the effects of the pollen released by the plants. If at least one person remains awake, they can shake their companions awake. But if everyone falls asleep, they'll be captured by the doctor. The PCs will be kept barely alive until the end of their natural lives, having their mana, the source of MP, drained to power this facility. The adventure ends.
Yeah.
And then, like later on, you can when you're confronting the doctor about all this stuff, you can just like answer his questions in a way that'll be like, okay, well, you stay in the facility and have your mind wiped for the rest of your life. The adventure ends. What the fuck? And that's not even close to the only ones either, because like in the third part, there are more. One of them is literally just like, oh yeah, if they open this door, like it triggers a like a massive iron roller trap, and beyond the door is just a wall that says something like dead end. That's what it says. And then like the roller smashes everyone, smears them into a fucking like jelly, and then gets retrieved back into the trap. That's it. The adventure ends.
Wow.
There is, by the way, no indication of this trap either. There's just like some bloodstains on the walls, and it's just like, okay, sure. This is a dungeon. Of course there's bloodstains on the wall. That's not a hint.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not really a hint. And there's just unfortunate, like, me and Kat are reading it as propaganda, but there's nothing indicating that. Where
Yeah,
there,
it's just like it's a gut feeling that I have that says it's propaganda, but there's nothing actually backing that up.
yeah, because they don't go, oh, this book is written by in-universe individuals, working for an organization of humanoids or something. We just get, hey, all of these species, yeah, they're bad. We literally will call them savage tribes.
The
Zoku.
translation that the translators use is barbarous,
Yeah.
which is fucking close enough to the meaning, I guess, but still.
Yeah, more or less. But
It's Banzoku or the barbarous races.
yes, and that's literally a very close translation from everything I've seen. Like, there's no way to
Yeah.
not translate it that way. So this isn't like the translator's doing a bad job, far from it.
Yeah.
But it's just, you see everything going, oh yeah, these guys are shit, except for these things.
Yeah, and it's like the one thing that I have for evidence that this is propaganda or just like prevailing culture and not the views of the writers or anything like that is that the barbarous books, the ones that are about the barbarous races, the Bansoku, don't have anything about this in it. It does not say that they are inherently evil or that they are even culturally evil. Just that they're like meritocratic and based on strength rather than
Yeah, which
whatever
is
else.
which is played as a bad thing at times, even in the Barbarous book. But you still have things like the centaurs. The centaurs are chill. They do their own thing. They're nomadic. They will trade with anybody, and they just happen to have pretty goddamn good warriors too.
Yeah, and like when we say that the society is based on strength, we don't mean specifically strength of arms, but rather combat power of any kind.
Yeah,
So it's not even that they're like brutish, headstrong, big bonk go burr kind of people either. They're just like as long as you are strong enough to defend yourself, you're good.
yeah, but
Whether that's through magic or guile or trickery or just raw strength.
yeah, if you can kill a motherfucker, it doesn't matter how you kill them.
Yeah, as long as you are capable of like fighting at all, you're good here in
Yeah.
this society. And it's just like, okay, yeah, they're founded by the god of war. Of course they're like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason not to. And it's not necessarily any better than what was going on with human kingdoms or
Oh yeah,
humanoid
absolutely not.
kingdoms. Sure, we had other reasons to do what we do in our own history and humanoids in general and that history, but it's far from perfect. There's plenty of strife in those worlds that had nothing to do with the barbarous tribes. I mean, hell, the fucking Wizard Kings. No racial indication, but I take that as meaning they were mostly humanoids. And the Wizard Kings were pretty fucking shit. Started doing
Yeah, in fact,
experiments.
they're the reason why there's even a gateway to the abyss, the realm of the demons, in the world at all. Some of them were like, "Hey, let's experiment with demons," and then summoned a bunch and didn't dismiss them, and so
Yeah.
there's a hole in reality now.
Yeah. Like, they tried to fix their mistake, because even they went like, hey, I like the world, I live in it. But that
All my
doesn't
stuff
undo
is
what
here.
they did. Yeah. That doesn't undo the shit they fucked.
Yeah, and then they also created like a one of the races of the barbarous tribes anyway. The Diablos were like just outright created by the magic civilization, by the
Yeah.
Wizard Kings.
Yeah.
So I have to assume that the Wizard Kings are a solid mix of both humanoid and barbarous.
Yeah.
This was well before the Diabolic triumph anyway, so like
Yeah, there wasn't as big of an issue to begin with. But granted, like, it still wasn't the best situation with the barbarous. At the very least, during the Magitech period, they were mistreated quite a bit. It was noted as a time of humiliation for them.
yeah. Which, for people curious, the general timeline goes like the world is there. The Swords of Genesis decide that they're going to make stuff to be in the world, and the Swords of Genesis are like divine weapons, essentially. You got four known Swords of Genesis, although one of them is not sure to exist because it doesn't have a pantheon behind it.
Yeah.
You've got Lumiere, the Sword of Harmony. You've got Ignis, the Sword of Freedom, and you've got Cardia, the Sword of Mana, and
Yeah.
then of course Fortuna, the Sword of Destiny. That's the one that no one really knows if it's actually real or not. But Lumiere, the Sword of Harmony, is the patron sword. It's the sword. It's the pantheon sword of the humanoid gods. So including like the elven gods, the dwarven gods, all of them.
Yeah, basically,
They're the quote unquote good guys.
Yeah, basically, these three swords came into fucking existence and created the rest of existence, and any motherfucker who touched it could turn into a god.
Yes. The first wielder of Lumiere is a dude named Lyphos, the divine ancestor. He was the first god of all of them, period, including of the other swords, and turned a whole bunch of other people into gods too because he liked them. But anyhow, the first sword and the second sword eventually went to war, which causes the end of the divine civilization, wherein civilization was ruled over directly by the gods. During this time period, there was no magic except for what the gods had and what they gave out. During this war, the divine sword of Cardia, the sword of mana, went, nah, fuck this, I'm not getting involved in this war, and shattered itself and spread mana throughout the world. And this gave rise to the fairies. When raw magic interacted with nature, fairies happened, nature spirits. I don't know how the war ended specifically. I don't think anyone really knows, but it did eventually end. And but the first sword and the second sword pantheons did create their own races of peoples from the base humans that the swords had created for them. And that's the split there. The humanoids are of the first pantheon, and the barbarous are of the second pantheon. The first wielder of Ignis is Dalkrim, the god of war,
Yeah.
and he's the one that made them all. So
Yeah, with the third sword, not a lot of gods happened because the third sword got busted during the War of
yeah, it
Gods.
does still have a couple of ancient gods, and those ancient gods did turn other people into gods, but not that many.
Yeah, not
There
that
just hasn't
many,
been enough time
and
for them to do that.
basically like fairies, and that's about it out of things that out of peoples that sword has made, has or those gods have made.
Yeah,
Anyway,
which is kind
Darkrim.
of fucked up because like things without souls can't hear the voices of the gods, but fairies don't have souls because they're made from nature and raw magic. So fairies can't be priests or paladins or anything of that kind, but they have a god, and it's a god of the first sword.
Yeah, yeah,
Which, like, the in-universe logic is that like Lyphos is the one that gave that god her divinity, so of course she's under the first sword because she was turned into a god by one of the first sword. And it's sort of like, come on, we have a whole ass god and we can't be priests. Fuck you.
yeah. We can't be priests. We can't communicate. I will say for the rune folk who are artificial beings, though, whether they're biological, artificial, or mechanical. But the joke I made was the gods can't talk to them because all they hear is dial up noise.
Yep. Because the lore reason is that their pseudo souls were based off the fairies, so they have the same kind of soul as the fairy does. Unfortunately, they can't see fairies either.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though they had like their pseudo soul is based on that of the fairies, so it's just sort of like, fuck you too, guys. Anyhow, after the end of the War of the Gods and magic spread throughout the world, that gave rise to the Wizard Kings, who replicated these swords of Genesis through like a weird kind of enchantment. It's kind of strange because in Raxia you don't enchant things, you replicate previous generation weapons and armor and all that shit. You don't actually like make magical stuff from nothing, from scratch, you know? You just sort of copy the old ones. But
Oh,
in so doing, there are.
even in the
Go
life
ahead.
skills book.
Yeah,
Oh wow, damn.
because like that's where we get the generations of the swords from. Because like the books use sword as the specific word, not weapon or object or item or anything like that, because it's sword world. But in this case, magic sword or divine sword or what have you means magic item. Period. It's not specifically a sword.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the divine swords, quote unquote, that you see in the books are like one of them is like a bunch of prayer beads, another one's a spear, like some are rings, that kind of thing. They're not all swords. It's just like the in universe generic term for a very powerful weapon is a good magic sword.
Indeedy do.
Hi, buddy.
You tell
Fuck
more
off.
people about Swirled. I will be right back.
Yes, of course. And then the Wizard King start experimenting with demonic like magic, as we stated earlier, and cause the abyss to show up. And then a whole bunch of other Wizard Kings are like, "Oh fuck, we gotta do something about that before it eats the entire planet." So 9 Wizard Kings go up to the north where the hole in reality is, and sacrifice their lives to build a massive wall around the hole in reality called the Abyss Wall. Hi, buddy. Yes, handsome boy. Anyhow, once the Wizard Kings all die to their own hubris or by self-sacrifice to save the rest of the world, there are no more Wizard Kings, and that means the all of society basically collapses because they don't have any rulers anymore. There's like the whole like government just fucking went away like one day, basically. So the Magitech civilization starts. That's that period. because people now have access to magic more like equally. And during this period, the Bonzoku, the Barbarous, are treated very poorly for various reasons. Probably some of them to do with what the Wizard Kings did, because some of the Wizard Kings absolutely are like explicitly barbarous. Come on, buddy. There we go. Fucking cat. Anyhow, and then eventually the Diabolic Triumph happens, which is an uprising, a great war of between the barbarous and the humanoids, between the first and second swords once again. Not the actual gods this time, though, just their children. And that's what ended the Magitek civilization 300 years ago. And now the world is still trying to pick itself back up and put itself together after all that shit.
And I return.
Welcome back. I just got to the modern day of the timeline.
Excellent.
Yes, the Diabolic Triumph ended the Magitek civilization. But that was only a couple hundred years ago, so the world is still trying to pick itself back up and put itself together.
Yep, separated into city-states with very different forms of governance between them.
Yeah, like some of them will even be like call themselves empires, and it's just like, oh yeah, but you have like one city and 3 villages.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess an empire is anything with an emperor in it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But essentially, like, this place is like low population, high magic, because all that magic fucking killed a whole bunch of people.
Yep.
Not very long ago. Hello, my son. Yes, you are very handsome. Stop looking at me like that. What was I gonna say next before my cat distracted me? Oh, right. Like, this has been my generalized complaint with Sword World, is that information about this stuff, like anything, is scattered throughout all of the books
Yeah,
and
wonderful
throughout
ideas.
various chapters of the same book sometimes.
Yeah, wonderful ideas. They do not know how to organize things,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
there's absolutely no organization. Like, I don't even know where I found the information about like what a fighter class does. I just know it's not under the class section of the first core rulebook.
Yeah.
It just gives you like a blurb about the classes there. It doesn't actually tell you what the fuck they do at all,
Yeah, it's not until
or what they get per level or anything.
Yeah, that wasn't until they actually told you about the actual skills that you would be making skill checks on. And there it lists, oh yeah, each level you get this class gets an extra thing of this class gets an extra thing of that.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And this like extends to the starter set that I was talking about earlier, the Labyrinth that catches stars, because at the end of this, because their dungeons are called sword labyrinths, they're like a low number generation swords that are sapient and create their own labyrinths around them to like find a new wielder, essentially.
Yeah, and they're
Uh,
shaped in essence by whoever their first wielder was, and so the labyrinths kind of represent the personality.
yeah. So like the last part of this starter set is going through the sword labyrinth, and you figure out the sword's name pretty quickly. It's Frontier. And at the end of the book, at the end of the scenario, it does not give you any stats for Frontier at all. Despite this being a fucking book for starter like players.
Yeah.
In fact, hold on, let me scroll up back to where I sent you the snip in the Discord. However, this set does not detail just how powerful Frontier is or what special effects it possesses. That's something for the GM and players to imagine and discuss excitedly after this session. Perhaps the sword can activate mysterious effects with a major action, or it might have peculiar effects like those strange swords you encountered in Frontier's dungeon. Everything is a story yet to be told. It's like, but this is for new people. Give examples, you fuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything. Like,
Give
literally
us
the only thing you know
examples.
about Frontier is that it changes shape to suit whoever fucking wields it. That's all you know about it.
Yeah. Give us some examples of these swords so we can then make our swords.
Yeah, like, it doesn't even tell you that it's got, like, +6 to hurtiness or exploding dudes or anything. Like, it just...
Yeah.
Nothing.
I don't think it even says, oh, this is a magic weapon for purposes that require, like, magic weapons.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's ridiculous.
Like, I would assume that, but also, like, list it. It's one of those things where I do think D&D has modernized in the correct fashion, and that it is using very object-oriented stat sheets. It has a term. You know,
I think
I mean, other games do
that's
it
not
way
really a
better.
modern D&D thing. Like, that's just like been D&D for a long time now. I know because we're getting older, like that 3.x still feels new to us, but it's actually like 23 years old.
That is fair.
So,
But I am also saying, like, where the split happened between these books and D&D.
yeah, it was before 3.x, which is also when they really set down the rules for like how to create magic items, like how to split their stats up or anything like that. Of course, like artifacts break these fucking rules, but that's because they're artifacts, you know? Like that's what makes them an artifact in the first place, is the fact that they break those rules. But like there's nothing about creating magic items in the books anywhere that I can find, period.
Nada.
Like I even asked in the Discord about it, and like all that anyone could tell me was that like you should look at examples that are shown in like Epic Treasury and Arcane Relic and Wizard's Tome and shit like that to find like examples so you know what they can do. And I'm like, but we don't, that doesn't tell me like how much is reasonable for this level, because like you're only level 3 or 4 at the end of the starter set. How strong of a weapon should I be giving these players?
Yeah.
At the end of this?
Yeah, it's like, come on, give us a lot more examples of of the scale you want things to be.
Yeah, like its ability to change shape to suit its wielder does give it some growth potential, because it means that it can copy the stats from like larger, more powerful weapons later on down the line, you know? Between like a long sword and a claymore, for example, like you can upgrade it once you know are at the proper level to use the claymore. But that's not that good. Because like you get damage and accuracy from your class and from your fighting classes, at least your warrior classes, and the weapons don't vary that much in raw power throughout the book, like throughout the levels of weapons. Like you can take a B rank weapon, which is a longsword, and compare it to an SS rank weapon of the same kind, which is a hand and half sword, variable. You can use it in one hand or two hands. Um, and I don't remember its name, but there is one there, and the power difference is about twice. Like the SS rank one is about twice as strong as the longsword, and the longsword does like fucking like 2 to 10 damage or something like that. So it's not that big of an upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm just sort of like, how? Yes, like the sword has growth potential, but it's not actually all that useful, especially since you'll find actual magic items that are written in the book already.
Yeah.
Well, in the books rather, with like cool effects and shit. Like the Executioner's Blade is awesome.
Yeah, like yeah. It's just one of those things. I think their priorities were at times in the wrong place. But you are right. 3.5 did have the same stuff that like the recent editions have with object-oriented stat sheets.
Oh, I know, because that's the edition I really started on.
Well, yeah, I know you
I
know,
know,
but I'm
I know
just
3.x is like I know that better than I know even like AWRPG, and I fucking made AWRPG, so
But yeah, my point was more like where the split happened more than
oh yeah.
recentness of years.
The split definitely happened in like first edition D&D.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like that's what they would have been playing during Lodos War, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was either it was basic. It was either basic or AD&D at most. If they changed partway through the campaign.
Yeah. Which like for people who didn't know, old school D&D, like the first few editions, weren't even really actually games.
Yeah, you had to pick up a
They were
game
more
called
like
Chainmail to do the combat.
yeah, and you're not gonna get those outside of like at the time you wouldn't get those out of Wisconsin, which is where they were printed. Because that was not a big game, and that was also where like the people making D&D lived.
Yep. People would
So like
call fucking Gary Gygax to ask him questions about the game because he had an unusual name and they knew where he lived.
yeah, so you would even have like social media before social media, which would be called like fanzines of this thing, and people would write in like essentially what it was is you'd write in letters and get responses from other people who also subscribed to the fanzine. And it was very quickly discovered that people were playing vastly different games because D&D was not a game. It
Yeah.
was like an added set of rules for another game that they couldn't get their hands on.
Yeah, so they had to kind of assume their own rules if they could not access chainmail.
Yeah, and like this is obviously the case for people in Japan. They're not going to be able to get their hands on chainmail. I mean, they might now. Like, there's probably you could
I
order
mean,
it online,
yeah, you could
but
easily get
like,
it now, but back in the day, fuck no.
yeah, absolutely not.
And I think that's part of why we got these very interesting classes. And these,
Yeah, especially with this like weird multi-classing thing that happened as well.
yeah,
Because like D&D itself discourages multi-classing a lot these days, but back in the olden days, it did not.
yeah,
In
and
fact, to get the cool, interesting classes like Paladin or Bard,
you
you would
had to.
have to multi-class. Literally had to multi-class to qualify for them. Now Paladin and Bard are base classes, so you can get them at character creation, but like back in the day, not so much. One second, I am looking some stuff up. When was Yeah, they were probably playing first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe basic set or something like that. Because just looking at the time frame of like when the books were written versus when AD&D was out.
Excellent. But
Which you can really feel in like how they write their scenarios, because again, like you just have instant death traps out of nowhere.
yeah, instant death
Because it's
traps. But
like
yeah, like
long round timers.
the demonstration of Deedlit's magic in particular fascinates me as a very distinct deviation from how we imagine D&D magic.
Yeah, they didn't use I don't know if this is true of Sword World 1.0, but they, as far as 2.x goes, they don't use spell slots at all. They use mana,
Yeah, they use
which
mana
I
points.
prefer personally.
Yeah, give me my mana points.
Yeah, you got your health pool and you got your mana pool.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something I can get behind.
No, I much prefer that because like I know it's an alternate, like it's an optional rule in like even 3.x spell points, but like most people don't know about that optional rule, because it's tucked away in the DMG somewhere, like as a fucking like side box during like a different thing. Uh, But I prefer that a lot more because it means that you are more able to adapt to what's happening. And people may say that like, oh yeah, but that's like how it's different between like sorcerers and wizards. Like the wizard has to prepare properly, and the sorcerer doesn't. But that's kind of bullshit. Because any mage that was restricted like that would never fucking go on adventures because they would just die. You don't know what you're gonna run into.
Yeah. You have no idea what you're going to run into. And it's just a very dangerous situation in general.
Yeah. It's sort of like a weird disconnect as well in the Sword World books, or at least 2.x, versus like the fucking scenarios that they run. Because I actually don't think scenarios that aren't tutorial scenarios have these instant death moments. Like Monochromatica does, but that's because you're immortal. You literally can't die permanently there.
Yeah,
So
like, sure, run that like a fucking Dark Souls campaign.
yeah, exactly. You can do that. That's what it's for. Like the Monochromatica, like the beginning scenario let you get a feel for the setting starts with like you getting plunged into Monochromatica, being confused, and then getting hit by a train.
That's
Like
kind of
just a
amazing. It took me a second to
yeah.
register what you just fucking said.
It's a save or die moment with a goddamn train. It's
Ah,
literally just like like it doesn't matter if your character is from like the city of railroads or anything like that, but like it just says like, oh yeah, you hear a rumbling off in the distance. Make a danger check.
I would give you
If you succeed, you get out of the way in time. If you don't, you splatter.
I would give somebody advantage if they were from the city of fucking railroads, but also
Yeah,
like
I just like personally like trains don't go that fast. You will hear them long before you see them. You've got more than enough time to get the fuck off the railroad tracks.
granted, that depends on when you teleported in.
It's true, but I think you would see the train at the same time if it was that close that it was going to kill you if you didn't get out of the way. But that's just like
Fair.
my personal opinion.
Granted, we don't know the speed of magic trains.
This is true, we don't.
It could be a fucking bullet train,
Gosh,
basically.
that would really be something.
Just skip the entire, like, steam engine speeds, go right to bullet train.
Fuck, man. I wouldn't be surprised. Like that shit's powered by like literal divine energy
Yeah,
in that
exactly.
setting.
That's my thing. Is it's powered by divine energy. Like, I
I
could
guess
see
it
it.
also would impress upon the players that hey, Monochromatica is fucking dangerous. Way more so than Raxia. And it's on purpose because you can die here.
Yeah, you can die here as many times because you do not accrue what we've talked about before, but are called soul scars, which you
Yep.
do
Instead,
accrue
you
them,
accrue contract depth, which is a very different thing
and
and
isn't
has the side
entirely
effect of
negative.
making you more powerful.
Yeah, like you will survive longer having gone that far. Which kind of makes me wonder if some motherfuckers just learns this and starts jumping off cliffs.
To get more powerful. I mean, potentially, maybe.
Get more powerful and just like, that fall will kill me. All right, let's go. That way I don't have to get all the way down.
It would be a very interesting setting to write about because you would have people who desperately need power killing themselves for power.
Yeah, it,
It's
it
like
You know, it
You
almost
know,
kind of embraces the reckless hero archetype.
yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit like that ritual that you and I came up with for vampires in the Tower Garden,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
where they literally kill themselves for more power.
Yep.
But in a setting where this can happen to anyone, and not
Yeah.
just a motherfucker that knows like this esoteric ritual, which is kind of fascinating to think about. But whatever. The Monochromatica is a bubble world. It's like a alternate world version of Roxia
Yeah.
that
Basically,
was created during the War of the Gods.
imagine that the astral, as you can imagine it from something like D&D, is a thin membrane around the world of Araxia. Sitting atop it are the bubble worlds.
Created by the shockwaves of the gods' conflict.
At least that's the running theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, nothing else could possibly be powerful enough to create the kind of shockwaves that you would need to create bubbles in the planar membrane.
I don't know, there might be a toddler god with the biggest bubble wand.
I guess, yeah, maybe. That's a really good idea for a god, the child god.
Absolutely.
I'll write that down. There we go. Note taken. That's a really good idea, actually. I like that a lot. Just because, like, how terrifying that is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Children are awful, awful human beings. The important part is that they are not strong. If you made them
Yeah.
strong, they are suddenly incredibly terrifying.
Anyway, yeah, so basically what I'm saying here is that I like Zord World 2.5 a lot, and I want to play a game of it, but I don't have energy or health.
Yeah, I still might run something for Cat anyway, and we'll just do it at our slow pace.
Fucking sure. It's just, it's. I want to experience high level play in Sword World 2.x to do research on how well the mechanics scale, because at the lower levels it seems pretty good. Certainly brutal and dangerous, which is how I like my combat to be.
Yeah, like honestly, writing aside, I just really like how Sword World is structured otherwise.
Yeah, like it functions like a fusion of D&D and AWRPG actually.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. And
It just doesn't use the same like dice system.
yeah, which it is a D6 system, correct? Like they don't use
Yeah.
anything other than D6s.
Yeah, it's 2d6, no more.
Understood. Yeah,
Never go above 2d6.
yeah, that deeply like it makes sense. Uh, don't have to sell anybody on funky dice.
Yep. And for weapons that do way more than like 2 to 12 damage, there's a something called a power table for every weapon and every spell, and you roll your 2d6 on it, and whatever your result is that's what damage you do on that table. So
Mhm.
you roll a like say a 9 on I don't know like a longsword, and you'll do like 7 damage.
Okay.
You roll a that's actually exactly right. I just pulled up Sir Casimir's fucking character sheet. Holy shit, I got it right.
Excellent.
But like, of course, like this power scale is different for every weapon and every spell.
Yeah.
So
So
that's how you get your damage variance.
yeah. So it's just a random table going from 2 to 12.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, if you roll a 2, you don't do any damage because you just fucked up and crit fail.
Yeah, you
So.
crit fail. Which again, humans can change that once per day.
Mm-hmm. Which may be like that sounds like a really lackluster ability, but that is incredibly powerful.
used at the
Because
right
you can turn a
moment.
crit fail into a critical success immediately, just
Yeah,
instantly, whenever
exactly.
you want.
Yeah, used at the correct moment, you could save your ass. Also, I don't think it indicates it has to be one of your roles. So part of me wonders if you could turn an enemy's critical success into a crit failure.
Good point. Let me see. I have the book open still. Um, oh, human, where are you? Where are the races? Where are the races? Select race and background right there, 62.
Oh, on any of the human character skill checks, damn. Damage calculations were loot determinations. Fuck. Nice thought, but
Ah, yeah. Any of your skill check, yeah. Okay. But anyway, um, it is very interesting seeing this system because it encourages, not even encourages it, like it almost demands that you play multiple classes on a single character rather
yeah,
than like the
absolutely. Because
experience penalty or lowered level cap of D&D. You can get all of them up to the max level, all of them.
yes, indeed, your character level, which will determine your HP among other things, is just the highest level that you've reached on any class.
I think it's major class specifically.
Might be major class, yeah. But either way,
It could
like,
also be like a minor class, but I don't know.
yeah. But at the very least, we're for sure on major classes. So it is the highest level that you've achieved on major classes at bare minimum. And that means you can level the classes to get what you need for your abilities rather than just pumping up your level.
Oh, you're right. It's the highest class level that a character possesses.
Yep.
It doesn't
Uh,
mention minor or major.
and a lot of minor classes would probably be in other games' feat tracks.
Yeah, potentially.
Not all of them, because some of them are actually what I would consider like an actual minor class, but some of them I would call feat tracks, like the Sage.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which,
Yeah, because all that really does is like give you actually Sage is just like a really good idea to use on any character that has a mage class, but just because like its abilities allow you to like one of its automatic feats that it gets is MP save, and that just works for all of your wizard classes ever. And when you normally take MP save as a normal feat, yeah, you have to specify which class it's for. So like Sage just lowers all magic costs permanently, all of them.
yep. And you get better monster knowledge rolls.
More languages, all kinds of fucking like cool little things. So the Sage is just like a really good class. I like Sage a lot.
Yeah, Sage is real good, but
But like
it would be
again, like my
it would be kind of a
go
feat
ahead.
track in other games.
Yeah. Like my biggest issue with any of this, like this whole system, is less the system itself and more the organization of the books.
Yeah,
It's
we've kind of had to rely on other players who have organized this shit far better than the developers. Which, again, the developers came up with great ideas, but gosh, they need somebody who's more persnickety about organization.
yes, please. Oh my god.
It is the only thing I would really even call the biggest negative, because I think everything else you could easily like rework, but the finding of information is something that would take you ages to do yourself.
Yeah. It's
Whereas,
painful
you
is
know,
what it is.
whereas me and Kat can go, yeah, we're going to assume this is propaganda and kind of work with that as a concept, or go, hey, we don't need to have instant death traps like this in our starter dungeons.
Yeah, like it's weird to me that like some DMs and like game masters in general will really be a stickler for the rules, the statements of intent. You know, it's like that's just weird to me,
Yeah,
especially when it's done to like beginners. Like, all right, fuck you, dude. We're not asking for wishes here. We're telling you roughly what we're gonna do. We
yeah,
don't.
yeah. We're not trying to actually like game the system. We're, you know, it's one of those things that I will always give Matt Colville for talking about is like, if it would make sense for your character to know, you should just be told it. Like, if you in that physical space, if you were standing there, you would know what he's about to tell you. He should tell you.
Yeah, like that's actually like a really big issue as well with all this stuff because no matter how good our virtual tabletops get until they are full dive VR, we are not actually our characters, unfortunately. We do not see literally everything that they see. We
Yeah,
have to ask the GM. And like trying to gotcha the player on something like that when they can't possibly know how loud that battle across the street actually is, and they can't possibly know that it's too loud for them to simply tell another player something, and they have to shout it for them to be heard, is ridiculous.
yeah,
They don't know that. The players don't know that.
yeah. You need to tell them what the volume of what's going on is. If they smell gunpowder, you have to tell them. You can't just go, oh, yeah, that barrel over there smells funny. Without describing the scent at the very least. Go, it stings the nose.
Yeah, you gotta fucking give them something to work with. So it's stunning to me that
Yeah, and the one,
experienced GMs will treat newbies like this,
yeah, it's
especially
real.
like in these starter set dungeons. It's just sort of like, why?
Yeah, it's
You're
real
just like
weird.
giving new players an automatic fail state that they could not have possibly seen coming.
Yeah, no, and it's just,
Like, sure, if you told me as like a very experienced player, because I've been playing tabletop games for over 20 years now, if you told me that yeah, there's like a weird blood smears across the walls and floors of this room, I'm gonna be looking around for something to fall or push me because like that's me. I've been doing this for 20 years.
yeah, like
I know what that means.
if you tell somebody who's never done this what's going on, and tells them that without any sort of information, at the very least, you have to explain it like, yeah, you ever see like a mashed hamburger patty? It kind of looks like that, and you're the hamburger.
Yeah, you gotta give them fucking something. Like in this case, like the DM can easily just be like, okay, this is just another one of the sword's tricks. The sword is just fucking teasing you because you checked this door without checking it for traps or anything like that. So like, get the fuck out of here. Just go back up the hallway or whatever. But putting this as like the writer of a scenario, of a module into it is just sort of like it's kind of gross.
Yeah, it
Like you
really
got to
is.
ease your players into these kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the yeah, that's about the only other thing, and that really is primarily in the starter sets, as you said.
Well, I
With
haven't read all of the scenarios that we have access to, just like Monochromatica and this fucking the labyrinth that catches stars. There we go.
Gotcha, but yeah, Monochromatica at least makes sense because you could just run that like a Dark Souls campaign.
Yeah, you just die and then reform a couple seconds later. That's literally the conceit of Monochromatica. You are literally immortal. You just can't resurrect too many times. Otherwise, you might lose yourself.
Yeah,
And it's
eh,
not a guaranteed loss either when you like get to that level of contract depth either. It's a willpower check. So if you've got good willpower, you'll just fucking stick it out.
yep. Granted, the NPCs may not see it that way
Yeah.
because they will know because the other conceit of Monochromatica is everything is in black and white until the power of the gods is released upon you. And the greater the color value you've got, the more likely you're going to look like something that's about to go berserk.
Yep. It's called the deformed. There we go.
Yeah. All right, so we've been rambling about this for over an hour.
Yep.
Let us get into To Be Hero X. Which,
Okay, all right. 2B Hero X first then. All right, let's go. Let me get that back up here. There. Yes.
yeah, which we come back right about when we left off with fucking God Eye here talking to the city. And we have Lin Ling trying to leave via the elevator, but all of Nice's supporters are telling him, don't do it, it's a trap. Which, the fucked up part is they're right. But it's important for Lin Ling to do this.
Yeah.
Abandoning this would be abandoning what he understands a hero to be. So even though it does turn out to be a trap, it was still important for him to do this. But important thing is, Lin Ling goes for the elevator. He cannot exit the elevator as Nice because all or the majority of his supporters are saying don't do it. And as a result, it's almost like reality shifts to make him feel further away. He gets vertigo and collapses on the ground. In the meantime, the company, Treeman, with, actually, who is there? Mr. Shand, sent out a cleanup crew, or a cleanup man in this case, rather than an entire crew.
Yeah, it's a borrowed, like his title is a borrowed English word, crusher. I think it's Iron Fist in Japanese. That's what they like write on the screen at least.
Let me see here. Blankster. Let me see here. Yeah, Blankster to cleaner. And the thing that works for that is he punches hard enough to remove memories. And that is important as a cleanup crew for this particular situation. It would actually be useful if he managed to win. But he does not. Because as he's fighting God Eye is A, finding errors in his fighting style, and B, rapidly looking up every misdeeds that he engaged in to get his way to the top, and what formed his mystique as a hero to begin with, which it was putting like iron plates in boxing gloves.
Which is genuinely kind of fucked up.
Yeah, genuinely, like this guy did a wrong. You could have killed a motherfucker, and I think he did. Did he?
I have no idea. I don't think so, but he might have.
But he could have, very easily. And we see him in the 2D sequence reverting to a young man. He's no longer the hero, he's the guy who put metal plates under his gloves, fighting an actual super villain. And fucker gets knocked down. And then on top of that, they actually play. He actually plays Lin Ling. It's either he or the company. I think the company does it to try and cover up the programming, but God Eye gets it back anyway.
Yeah, they play Linling's
Opening, like,
ad,
yeah, the opening
the ad that
ad.
he made,
Yeah, in the
like
very
way back in the first episode. But God Eye does eventually get it back anyhow.
yeah, but the thing
Only
is,
after the full ad was, shown. But
yeah, and the ad finally makes him see what he needs to do.
which is, of course, go be a hero because you're a hero, fucker.
Yeah, and specifically, he is fighting against his supporters, or rather, Nice's supporters, in the wall of force that is, and he has to abandon this identity he's lived in for months now. And he does, like, he goes, "Who are you talking to?" To Miss J, because she was calling him nice.
Actually, I'm looking through all these other. I'm just like scanning through these other ones, like with the PDF reader on like kill, die, the adventure ends, etc. And it's not in here.
Huh. All right. But
It's only the starter set that has like the adventure ends, everyone dies, which is really fucking weird.
yeah, and we get what Moon said to him before she left for through her portal. I don't necessarily know what I want, but I know what I don't want. And Linling's seeing that. He does not want to be a fake hero. Doesn't want to be nice. He wants to be an actual hero.
Yeah, he never specifically wanted to be nice. He wanted to be a hero. So,
And so he abandons it. He abandons the cape, walks past the supporters, which he's still struggling through. Like, this is very physical exertion for him. But it gets a little bit easier as they go, who the hell's this guy? Kind of looks like nice, but is he like a lookalike actor?
sorta, yeah, a little bit.
I mean, yeah, more or less.
Technically.
And what he does is he thankfully kept his trust value long enough to get up onto the building. Which I'm glad he was managed to do that and not have to climb up the building.
Yeah, that would take way too long.
Yeah, but at this point, he is a regular person. And God Eye...
Yeah, mostly, his fucking trust value is 3 digits.
Yeah, so he's not
Instead
like...
of like his fucking 100, like dozens of digits or whatever the fuck it was the last time. It
Yeah.
wrapped around nearly his entire wrist.
Yeah, so at the very least, he has lost any kind of value of power. And he introduces himself as Linling, tells the truth. Just like God Eye wants him to do, but God Eye is mad when he's not just groveling at his feet. And he reveals Nice is dead. I've been pretending to be
Nice has been dead for a while, in fact.
Yeah, I became nice.
Yeah, he doesn't
yeah.
explain exactly how, but he does admit that he became nice and that Nice is dead.
Yeah. One day, by sheer chance, I became nice and inherited his trust value.
Poor bastard. I guess that's one reason why they didn't put Lin Ling on the promo art, because it would have spoiled the fact that he's not going into the tournament as nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually see what God Eye can do in a fight, which we've been seeing throughout, but he blocks it, and seeing an actual, just regular person, more or less, going up against him.
He starts absolutely beating the goddamn shit out of Lin Ling.
Yeah, absolutely, throwing him around, all sorts of things. but people are watching as he's refusing to give up. He gets up, he goes again, keeps getting knocked down, beaten, fucking bloody. Lost teeth in some of these cases.
He's definitely got that gap going on. Halfway through the fight. Loses one of his front teeth, I think.
But Nice's fans do realize, wait, he was the one at Moon's funeral. So on top of, just seeing his determination, they're also like, oh yeah, he does have some very emotionally charged things to say.
Even Miss J, like, once they start cheering for him, is like in the back of her fucking car going, yeah, get him!
Get his ass.
It's great, actually.
Because what he does is, fucking Godeye has him held up, kind of crucifixion style, and he fucking headbutts this fucker. And
yeah, which is a great shot. Really good shot.
Yeah, because, he goes, what matters is not that I became nice, not that I reached the top 10. It's having something I actually have value in. Which, dude, have more value in things other than Moon? But also Moon kind of exemplifies his idea of freedom, so there is that. But yeah, even Miss J's enthralled, and then he suddenly goes and headbutts him. Just raw headbutt, and there's no real superpower behind it, really. He just busts the glasses enough and is able to get free. And that's what starts to boost his trust value.
Which is genuinely awesome. Like, it's just an incredible moment. Like, the music is fantastic. And then when he's like staggering around chasing after Godeye and trying to punch him in the head,
we see the same
Godeye's visors is like giving him like these warning signs, like, hey, here's an error in his movement. Here's an error in, like, here's an opening for you to exploit. And he still gets kicked in the face anyway, which is great.
Yeah, because we see the same thing earlier in his fight with Blankster. And he's able to actually dodge the hit. But now, it's like, yeah, there's vulnerabilities everywhere, but it doesn't matter. And at one point, he just picks up one of the robots because they're not really following along.
Yeah, they're not following his orders anymore now that his visor is broken.
Yeah, so he just picks up one.
Like the transmission thing and it broke.
Yeah, it's like he basically got a tungsten fucking webcam and is just beating a man with it. And Nice's supporters are going like, what's his name? Lin Ling? All right, let's cheer for him. Like, and
there's a transition from 3D to 2D for the rest of the fight, but it's just like it's timed so perfectly and done so well.
Yeah,
it's good. You watch the show.
Yeah, like you hear the person shout, "Go Lin Ling," and there's this blue power as his trust value goes up, and that blue acts as a transition into 2D. And it is excellent. I do like that. Anybody who plays Final Fantasy XIV especially has seen that little white accent after a particular point for a lot of characters, and it just fucking works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
what you think of Shadowbringers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're definitely not the first nor the last who will do that. But anyway, Lin Ling...
My character always had white hair, but it's fine. Yeah. I just made her like that.
I mean, for sure. But some people do add the white highlights and stuff. Yeah, Lin Ling launches himself bodily towards God Eye, and he's now punching into the ground, and there's so much, like, errors going on, but it doesn't fucking matter, because God Eye can't do a thing. Lin Ling is a genuine hero here. And people are watching the fight as it happens, and it is just raising its trust value more. And we see people talking about Lin Ling. Like, who the fuck is this guy? What's his hero name? Let's contract him before somebody else scoops him up. Which I would go with.
I'm sure Tree Man is going to try and keep him.
But he's also going to go, nah.
Yeah, like, he definitely does have, like, his pick of, like, organizations to be with now.
Yeah, he has his pick of organizations. I wonder if he will try to go for the X route of not having any organization, though. We will have to see.
Maybe. I could see him trying it, at least.
Yeah, at least attempting it, and we get to see the issues with that.
Fat boy.
Have to go, how the fuck did X manage? Kind of thing.
His X is cool.
His X is cool.
His name is X. Like, come on, he's super cool.
Yeah, but we see him absolutely bloodied. His cheek is swollen. Like, he is not the put-together hero that Nice is.
He's not even symmetrical anymore because, like, his face is all swelled up.
Yeah, exactly. His face is swelled. And we get to see people cheering his name specifically, not a hero moniker. And
he doesn't have one yet.
He doesn't have one, and I don't think he's going to have one. He has his subtitle, but every hero also has a subtitle. And we see he's also not a hero. He's just a regular person. Granted, you know, he's a capital H hero at this point, folks, but either way, punches God Eye one, doesn't even actually punch him, I should comment. It's actually just the wind burst of him punching that knocks off the visor and his top. Because we see his punch lands besides God Eye's head.
Yeah, because he's not trying to kill God Eye or anything.
Yeah. And God Eye fucking collapses.
He ain't quite that kind of hero. Thankfully.
Yeah. And people are excited. He's got fans. A lot of Nice's fans are behind him. People are cheering right in where they were just telling him not to leave. And as it turns out, like I was saying in the beginning, that isn't Moon. It's a robot body with a hologram on it. And I do love the kind of quip back and forth of, you tricked me with a mannequin? You're the one who's against fakes, but you used a fake? No fair.
And then, of course, God Eye's like, yeah, now you know why I hate fakes so much. Which is honestly a pretty good back and forth.
Yeah. And so, God Eye gets arrested. They bring up the Spotlight organization. And we get to see Lin Ling, the Commoner.
Yeah, his fucking title is the Commoner. It's like, oh god, so why you gotta do my boy like this?
But also, I fucking
it's so
love
rude.
it. Because I don't know, I kind of like the Commoner more than the Everyman.
That's true. The Commoner definitely sounds better, but it's also just sort of, damn, man, come on.
Yeah, but then, as we get credits, we see Moon on a deserted island. According to the narration, Moon has been on this island this entire time, surviving, but, you know, not exactly able to do much. Like, she's tried to send out bottles, notes in a bottle, but it doesn't seem like the ocean's agreeing with her.
Yeah, the current's just bringing them back to that side of the island,
Yep.
which sucks.
And then the portal opens up, and we see Linling walk through. It's worth noting his teeth are back to normal.
Yeah, so he's either got prosthetics or he's got a regen power somewhere.
Yeah, or this is a fucking dream again.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the thing, like, if I'm right about it being a nightmare hero, maybe. But either way, he goes, hey, you left so quickly, you left this fucker behind. Because, I mean, it's worth knowing her trust value is such that she can still make portals. She just left that fucker behind. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah. She really should not have done that.
Like, even if
but
you
she
are
did, so.
happy with where you are, and they're having a nice conversation, the happy music swells, and she gets beamed in the side of the head by a bullet or some sort of shockwave weapon. Her eyes are bloody like the last time we saw her potentially be dead. So I think
Yeah.
there is something there, and we see Isol, the number 9 hero, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he's the number 9 hero. So
Granted,
like even the comments of the site that I'm watching on were just like, give this poor girl a break. What the fuck, man?
yeah, what the fuck are you doing? All she wanted was not to be an accessory. Like, I really hope this is more of a prophetic dream again, because, okay, here's how my thing goes. If it's not a nightmare hero, then it is a dream constituting what Nice has to go through. Or rather, Lin Ling. I can stop saying Nice now. Fuck yeah. But Lin Ling has to go through. In the first dream, it is just Moon dead, because he has to let his idea of Moon go. Because that wasn't healthy for either of them, for what was to come after.
Yeah, definitely not.
And now, somebody who, in the episode preview for episode 5, we see was one of his greatest heroes, killing somebody he treasures in potentially this prophetic dream. And if it is a prophetic dream, it's all right. You've given up your idea of Moon. Now give your idea up of Isol, because he's the one you're gonna have to fight here in 15 days.
Yeah. I think you might be right about that. Or at the very least, it's a good like thematic parallel to his growth as a hero. Although I really hope she's not actually dead because I fucking hate it when female characters get turned into like motivations for a male hero. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is so goddamn annoying. Like, I'm usually fine with it if they're just the first to die and the rest of the family also dies.
Yeah.
I'm specifically thinking of the first Prey game.
I don't fucking remember. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, basically, like, not only does his girlfriend get turned into a monster he has to kill, his grandpa also dies.
Hmm. It's more like the loss of an entire family kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was thinking of leaving that community behind, and now he can never go back to it because it's gone in that circumstance. But yeah, so I'm hoping what this is it's a prophetic slash motivational dream, and we're gonna see his ass wake up in a fucking hospital after this, after getting
Phoenix, get the fuck out of here.
God Eye dealt
Go,
with,
fat boy.
because he lost teeth and blood, and we don't know if they have healing technology. And that's the hardest hits
I mean, they
he's...
probably at least like have a couple heroes on tap that can heal people, right?
Maybe. Like, you would have to imagine, like, somewhere in, like, God Eye's old tier of, like, the 200s to 300s, there's, like, a healing hero. But yeah, I'm super hoping that Moon is fine. Because this poor goddamn woman, I kind of feel like it feels wrong. Like, the way the music swells, the kind of almost cheesy dialogue between them. It's almost too perfect until it's a nightmare.
Yeah, potentially.
That might just be copium, but you know what? I'm gonna hold on to that until Saturday.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because, yeah, and the only preview we get is Isol used to be a Sentai. Like a Sentai actor.
That's ridiculous and hilarious.
Yeah, like, in fact, let me see. The Hero X episode 5 preview.
This is one of the instances where I'm really, really glad that we don't have a source material to, like, get spoiled on, essentially, by
Yeah,
like
so
people talking about it on the internet.
yeah, so the worst we get is the preview for the next episode, which is exactly what I'm looking for in this case, rather than, oh yeah, we're about to tell you exactly what happens.
Let me see.
It doesn't have any English subtitles, but you can kind of see, like, this guy really was just a Sentai actor. And he gets to meet the real E-Soul. Or the original E-Soul, I should say.
Lindling as a kid, you mean?
No, it looks like this guy, like, you'll see the Sentai guy is down on the ground and bloody, and he looks up and he sees E-Soul. And remember, E-Soul says he inherited this. For
No, that's true.
page.
Yeah.
And we see Lin Ling meet the guy who will eventually become the next E-Soul when he was a kid.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. That bit right there.
Yeah. So, won't know what exactly happens with this, but I hope we get the determination of whether that was a fucking dream or not.
Phoenix, fuck off, boy.
Because, yeah, this is the one thing I did not want them to do, is kill Moon, or pull her back into being Lin Ling's accessory.
Yeah, definitely not. Like it's super gross when people do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm hoping it was a dream. Though as I said at the time, it says something I'm still hopeful, even though they did the one thing I said, hey, I don't want them to do this. Like the reveal of the commoner. And Lin Ling getting to be his own goddamn hero.
I wonder if he posed for that fucking picture they have.
Yeah.
Phoenix. Fat boy, get out of my fridge.
Yeah, what?
Fucker.
I don't know, actually. Like, let me look back at that transition, because I have a potential theory. No, he never... You know, because it is 2D but the rest of the scene is 3D, I'm wondering if that was just art, like, in setting.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see or we won't in the future, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, everything else I liked about this episode, except for that stinger at the end. Like, Lin Ling getting fucking beat up.
Phoenix, fuck off, man.
He is very much... There's no way that the public can look at him as a neat and tidy hero in the way that Knight was. They saw him get the piss beaten out of himself. They saw him, and we saw they got a close up of his bloody face.
Yeah, so at least he won't have to deal with that. Like, he's not going to have Nice's OCD anymore.
Yeah. Granted, it might expand some of his own bad traits, depending on how he ends up getting viewed, but we'll have to see.
Oh yeah, this definitely like looks like it's art in world with that transition.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
I'm looking at the kid. Oh my god, XFC with X as the fucking colonel in KFC.
Yeah,
That's so good.
Yes,
I just saw that in the background.
Yes, I posted that in link sharing. I'm kind of glad you missed it and only found it now. But yes, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. That's great.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't think we've seen that particular ad before. And I'm like, that's perfect. I love that.
I don't know about that though. Like it uses that transition uses like it's probably something to do with like the in-world like advertising and hero agencies and everything. But like it looks like they're using Nice's image in Lin Ling.
Well, I think it's that it was announced just as it was announced by the Hero Association that Lin Ling is the new number 10. And so they're changing the old poster boards to the new boards. And
oh yeah, I just mean like the orientation of like his face and everything on the canvas.
Oh yeah, I could see that. So it's possible that they kind of redid it in a similar fashion, but they get rid of the white cape imagery because that's not what he's using anymore. I will be interested to see what goes on going forward. I hope he doesn't immediately start working for Treeman. If he does go to Treeman, it is because he really made a hell of a contract. Like, in his favor.
Yeah.
Like, he goes, I'm number 10 without you. What are you gonna give me? And I want all of the creative freedoms that I can.
I don't know if Lin Ling has the kind of like backbone to do something like that, but I hope so.
I think he does now. Because he's literally number 10 without Treeman's assistance, and he knows how shit Treeman is. So, I think he's going to try to muster it on his own, but if that doesn't work out, he's at least going to go in from a point of strength. Like, I'm number 10 without a company. What are you going to do for me as a company? Hell,
It's only him and X without a company in the top 10, right?
Yep. Because they point out X is weird for not having a organization association. I'm sure some of them are associated more with, like, not with companies per se, but with universities or something. I remember one of, I think it was Lolly, brought up a professor.
Potentially, yeah. I have no idea because I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I got the bad brain.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's weird that X has no association with a company and nobody knows who the fuck he is, because as we as the audience get to see, he doesn't look like X most of the time. He kind of has the Clark Kent thing going on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what he does as a company person. He might work for a news organization, maybe not. But either way, he's just a standard-ass office worker.
Yeah, as far as we can tell. Of course, we haven't actually, like, seen him in the show yet, so...
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm real interested in where we go from here. But I'm kind of agreeing with other people where next episode's going to kind of determine whether this is best of the year or just pretty good.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Because specifically because of like what they're pulling with Moon.
Yeah, what they're pulling with Moon. If it is a repeat thing where he has stress dreams like this, all right. Or it's a, a nightmare villain.
Nightmare villain, or he's got prophetic dreams or something, whatever, something like that. Sure, yeah, cool, excellent, like that.
Yeah.
Them actually killing her? No, I don't like that.
No, don't like that. I don't think that alone would make it a bad show, but it does take it off the highest pedestal.
Yeah, like it loses points for that, but everything else is already so good that losing some points is not going to make me stop watching.
Yeah, I would have to do that with it would have to similarly do bad with every woman going forward.
Yeah, especially since like this show has been very much about like personal agency and shit.
Yeah. Like Moon's whole reason for leaving is personal agency.
And of course we get the stand-up man from the last episode.
Yep.
And like Lin Ling shedding the nicest mantle to get his personal agency back as well in this one. It's like it's very much about personal agency and shit.
Yeah, personal agency,
like.
Creative agency to some extent. And it's worth noting, like, we don't see more of the beach and the jungle than Lin Ling saw through the portal. So
we have an overhead shot at first.
That's true, but that could be like an assumed thing. Like we don't see like a deeper in kind of thing, where you would call that another location for the purposes of like if you were writing that scene. Because you would go the beach and then whatever location deeper in the jungle, but we don't see that. It's all on the beach. Which could just be framing things to go, hey, she's trying to get out. But it could also be, yeah, that's part of the nightmare shit.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, massive copium, but we will see on Saturday. Because, well, Cat watches.
You will. I'll see next Wednesday.
Yeah, you will see next Wednesday. While Cat watches on Wednesdays, I watch the day of because I do not have that patience. And then I just review it as we go through it.
Yeah. I just don't. I can't do that. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
My brain too bad. It's easier for me to just like watch it right before the stream.
Yeah, and I mean, you giving me the play-by-play as you're reacting to it helps me remember shit. So, it's not like I'm totally alright.
Yeah. Alright. So, let's take a bathroom break, and then we'll get on to Record of Lodos War, unless you have something else to say about To Be Hero X.
Nope, I'm done. We will be right back.
Alright. Yep.
Yes, we are back.
So how about that Lodos War?
Yeah, so we watched episodes 9 and 10, I believe? Yes, that's right, 9 and 10, because there's 13 episodes in all. So
yeah, absolutely. That's what we watched. I was also checking just now. You're okay, Phoenix. Shut up.
Which we see Marmo is thrown into chaos as Feld fucking died, and so a lot of the lower monsters that were literally just animals having themselves be controlled, well, all those spells broke. So things like
they were probably like connected to his life force or whatever.
Yeah. So we've got shit like undead, goblins, various things that could not just be stopped by words, having basically torn themselves apart.
and just fucking killed each other over like territory and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at 1.0 stuff just to see. As we said earlier, and or I think we talked about it on the earlier segment. You see how bad our brain is, folks.
Yeah.
But either way, they were things like dark elves were high stat only in Marmo in this setting, and
Oh, I
occupied
don't think we talked
territories.
about that actually.
Oh, did I say
'Cause,
that in
we talked
text?
about that in DMs. Yeah.
Okay, we talked about that in DMs. Okay. So yeah, Marmo and occupied territories are the only places dark elves had status. If this fucks up, various creatures like various species like Pictoresses will be lower status or even just hunted down, regardless of whether they helped Marmo or not. Because they don't really define the difference. It's the same thing that happens in Raxia with the Diabolical Triumph. Yeah, a group of cultists, primarily barbarous, fucked the world, but that's not everybody.
Yeah, that's not every barbarous like fault, like, and like a lot of them weren't even alive at the time because
Some
the
of these,
barbarous don't actually live that much longer than humans do for the most part.
yeah,
Some of them do, but not all of them.
yeah, not all of them by far. And so,
Some of them live even longer than elves, but like that's only a couple of them.
so we get Vizier Jackass, will say, oh, Pictoress is helping, you know, Ashram because, he's a woman or whatever and loves him kind of thing. And like there's definitely some interaction there for sure, but that's not her only reason.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, she even says in her final moments you know, for the conquering of Lodos, because that's, we'd have to read the light novels to get more of her perspective, but I think for her, she believes her species should have a place higher up in the hierarchy. I was just
Or
saying,
at the very least, not fucking hunted down like monsters.
yeah, exactly. Like, I say get rid of the hierarchy, but, you know, I'm not in Cordelia. But yeah, Vizier Jackass, because we're not going to remember his name.
It's Wagnard, but like, who gives a shit? He doesn't deserve a name. He's bullcut advisor.
Granted, I think I was pretty on the nose by calling him Wangrod in our text earlier.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyway, Vizier Wangrod goes, all right, you need to get the Staff of Dominance to Ashram.
The scepter of dominance. Yeah, there we go. Which is actually just like functionally, thematically, that's an interesting artifact. Not because of what it does, but because it's a scepter specifically.
Yeah, it is absolutely like so much a sign of European leadership or
Yeah, it's
Western
a
leadership.
because there were three like relics or regalia, I guess you would call them, of royalty in the West, at least during a certain time period. It's the sword, the scepter, and the crown. It's like
Yes.
like the scepter is that fucking like cool fancy rod that you always see like kings holding. That's what that is. It's the scepter.
Yeah. Whereas the regalia of Japan is different because it is the mirror, the Magatama, and sword Kusanagi. So one of them's the same, but that's it. And it's not the sword they're going after. It is the scepter. So again, it just kind of shows how the writers here were writer or writers, whoever made those decisions, knew their shit when it came to signs of Western leadership.
It's probably Ryo Mizuno himself, because he was the GM for that game.
Yeah, more than likely. But I just don't know.
At least I'm pretty sure he was the GM for that game. I don't.
Yeah, he was. But we don't know if he was cut from, like, his friends who were playing were also cut from the same cloth kind of thing. So I'm kind of giving a little leeway to say, hey, they might have known this shit too.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, this campaign, like, I'm looking at his age and, like, the time when this shit came out. Like, this campaign happened when he was, like, 20.
Just imagine writing some fire fucking shit in your 20s.
That's known all over the world by the time you even hit 50.
Fuck.
Oh my god. Because he was born in 1963. He's 61 now. So, like, he was like 20, he was 17 to 23 roughly when this campaign took place.
Fucking hell.
Which is just fucking ridiculous.
Sometimes people have
Record of Lodos War, like the light novel version, was published in 1988.
Yeah. So, give or take a couple of years at most for the campaign to have taken place.
Yeah, it was just fucking wow.
Yeah, like,
and he's still working on shit with to do with Lodos War.
yeah, still
That's incredible.
Yeah, still working on shit in Lodos War, still working on Sword World. Granted,
He's still writing for Sword World as well, because he's also published volumes for like light novels that happen in Sword World.
Yeah, exactly, which we'll have to read those. But yeah, like, it is a small group called SNE, I believe.
Yes, Group SNE.
Yeah. That was the group that started with Lodos War, and that's the group that continues on with Sword World.
Group SNE's name comes from syntax error, the programming language basics term. Like the term for like the syntax error. They name themselves Group Syntax Error, which is kind of fucking hilarious. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then once we get, okay, yeah, go do the thing with the scepter, we cut to Parn.
Yeah, he's sparring with Cashew again.
Yes. And
every time I say his name, I want some cashews.
Yeah. Cashew isn't the stepdad, he's the dad who stepped up.
Yeah. Or maybe like grumpy uncle.
Yeah, could be either. But either way, he's not satisfied.
Holy shit, Group SNE like is the one who published the tabletop RPG version of Dark Souls.
Oh. That
Or they developed and published it, yeah.
What the fuck? That kind of explains where Monochromatica came from.
They published fucking some GURPS in Japan too.
Nice.
Wow. What's this one is Reborn Rebirth, because they published several actually. It's GURPS Busin Korean, which is martial arts, GURPS Cocoon, which is comical fantasy, Damned Stalker, Dragon Merc, Power Up, Reborn Rebirth, and Runal UL.
What's Runal? Because we're here anyway.
Oh my god, that is so Japanese. Holy shit. Hold on, I'm just gonna send you the image of its cover. That is so anime. Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is actually fucking influenced by RuneQuest.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's see here. They've done some translation work for Dungeons and Dragons, GURPS, Shadowrun, Mech Warrior, Warhammer Fantasy.
Ghost Hunter RPG. Let me see this.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, it's one of those that's like Japanese only because I'm not finding anything. Like nothing. It's all showing up like video games
Yeah,
or
let's see. So
other TTRPGs,
yeah, because it's horror
but not
RPG.
Ghost Hunter.
Yeah, it's horror RPG version of Laplace no Ma.
Maybe it's a supplement to Laplace no Ma. Which, is, by the way, Laplace no Ma translates to Laplace's demon, which is a physics thing or philosophical thing, something like that. Okay, that's kind of cool. Laplace no Ma, Laplace's demon, is a mixture of the role-playing video game and survival horror genres and set in the vicinity of Boston, Massachusetts in a town called Newcomb. It is modeled after the fictional city Arkham created by H.P. Lovecraft. The horror part of the game lies in the exploration of the fictional Weathertop Mansion, whose owner dabbled in black magic. The game's CRPG features include its character classes, dilettante, medium, detective, scientist, and journalist, that the player can leave the mansion to walk around the town to go to shops to buy items needed to defeat the monsters and complete the game. And it's just like an RPG version of that, apparently. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They did the CRPG version of Shadowrun, like the original.
Huh?
Oh fuck!
Damn. Yeah, because that's the.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because he did some translation work for them after or during.
The game has a 1990s manga-based visual style, loosely based on a contemporary Japanese manga, which was also based on the Shadowrun franchise. There's a Shadowrun manga, dude.
We are learning so much.
I need that. I need that so much.
Absolutely.
Shadowrun manga. It's a 5-book manga by Kazumi Saiki, published by Dragon Comics. It's also known in the West as Shadowrun Tokyo.
Oh yeah, it's on Bato.
Oh god, so I'm gonna have to. You know I have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it was 3 volumes, it said?
5.
Oh, 5.
It's 5-book manga. Batsu, come here. Give me
Bato only
Shadowrun.
has volume 3 listed.
Shame. I bet someone stopped translating it for some reason. Damn.
But you still might be able to find it somewhere.
Man, I hope so. You guys don't understand how much I like Shadowrun.
Yeah, Shadowrun is pretty fucking
Shadowrun has informed how I speak in real life, okay?
Indeed.
I love Shadowrun. Like whenever mages come up in like a tactical sense, my immediate response is to, and I quote, geek the mage.
Indeed.
I have to like explain to people like why I say the words that I say and just be like, oh yeah, I played way too much Shadowrun when I was a kid.
Which fair.
Ah! They did like a TTRPG version of Wizardry? Bruh.
Yeah.
And like none of these have like pages of their own because they're too small and you don't get them. Damn it. Can you guys release some shit in English or pay someone to translate this stuff for you? Because like
Please.
please. I need it.
Yeah, I swear, we are an untapped market. You could easily tap into us by remaking Lodos War or making a Raxia story
Gods, yeah. Ugh.
and porting it to the West and translating all of this shit officially. But hire some of the fan translators because they are the ones who create an interest. Granted, I'm talking like anybody from Group SNE is going to hear me, but I have to say it just
Yeah,
on the off chance.
but like we all know that everyone in the world watches our show. They
Yeah.
may not say so, but everyone does. Every single person in the world watches what we do. Gosh, that's been a joke I've been using since I first started doing podcasts 10 years ago. I just made myself feel old with my own damn joke. God damn it.
Oh no. But yeah, they've been working. They've been trucking for a long time.
And like it's all RPGs too. Like these motherfuckers are my kind of people. There's a couple of trading card games in here too, which is not my kind of thing. But like the rest of it's RPGs.
Yeah.
Even RPGs based on their card games that they made.
Yep.
Which is great.
And manga based on the RPGs they've made. And not even just like Lodos War and stuff. Like there's something loosely based on it for their they made something called Monster Collection.
Yeah.
And
Which is
then
one of the trading card games that I was talking about.
yeah, and developed into a manga or as the basis
Also
of the
developed
manga.
into an anime, which later turned into Mon Knights, which was done by Studio Dean, I think. Yes, Studio Dean. Which is like Studio Dean is like one of those hit or miss guys.
Yeah,
One of those hit or miss studios, but they got some good shit in there too. Definitely.
yeah, they're definitely hit or miss.
Like Rurouni Kenshin was done by them, for example. For people who actually know their anime history, that will be a very obvious name. Ranma One Half, the original, was made by them.
Yep.
I don't know if the modern one was as well. I don't think so, but
No, it's a different company that is also hit or miss.
lovely.
But they've managed to hit it so far, so I'm looking forward to October.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They're also the guys who did Log Horizon for the people who like that, and Hellgirl. Hellgirl is also really good.
Yeah. Oh, they are still releasing card games, in fact.
Are they?
Yeah.
Group SNE.
Yeah, Group SNE. They're making a zombie related one.
That's kind of neat, I guess. I wish I liked card games.
Yeah. Because I was like, let me look at their page since I'm right here. You know, I was Googling Group SNE anyway to just look at their wiki page, but I'm like, I'm here. And I can't understand a lick of what they're saying, but I see it's card games with like undead themes.
That's cool.
Let's see, the other thing they're making, because I guess they're making a lot of different stuff, is a cave
Oh my
exploring
god.
game.
Wikipedia actually has like it includes the courtesy rules that you use when you're doing play by post. which is kind of funny.
That's kind of great. Yeah, they have a cave exploring type game. I don't know what the conflict is. I can't understand Japanese.
We are illiterate.
They are
Sadly.
indeed illiterate.
If it was in Roman lettering, I might be able to help, but
Yeah.
there's no way that my brain will ever be able to like learn new letters again. I just won't remember them, sadly. Maybe if I spend several years studying, but
Yeah, apparently they're working on a bunch of physical games. Or showing off prototypes, one or the other. Again, literate. That was just from 5 months ago. The zombie thing was actually from 2 months ago.
that's pretty fucking cool. Oh, they worked on translating Shadowrun. 2E specifically, but
Yeah.
they did they translated the first edition of Mech Warrior as well, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's kind of sad going from the JP site to the English site because you see all this cool shit in JP, and in English, it's just like their company information and links to their Japanese YouTube page and Nico and that.
Sad days.
Yeah.
I would like to buy your things, Group SNE. Please put them into English.
Indeed.
Like, Record of Lodos War was so popular even here in the States that it genuinely informed a lot of people's ideas about fantasy.
Yes.
And, like, got them into anime in the first place and all that shit. Like, it's... You guys deserve to have the untapped market that is English speakers. Come on.
Yeah, seriously, like you could easily translate the, well, I say easily, but you can hire a translator and you could sell some of your older stuff and get more money. Maybe not right this second, because at least not to American markets, because
We ain't got any money right now.
well, I mean, first off, no money, but also like we've got the tariff happy TV host.
Ah, yes. Let's see.
Yeah, so far, just a bunch of physical games that are not TTRPG stuff.
It's only 10% on things that aren't like cars stealing metals and shit like that, which is not great, but it's better than getting hit with a full 25%. So
yeah.
still, I would like Japan to start exporting stuff into the US again because you guys have a lot of cool stuff that I've wanted to buy for a long time, but I can't.
Yeah.
Some of it because like COVID shut down like international trade for a while there.
Yeah.
But some of it also just because like I want this thing that I hadn't heard of like when I had an opportunity to buy it several years ago. All right. Give me the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess
I would murder Ashram with his own spine to get my hands on some of your books, SNE. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting to know what else they get up to.
I wonder how big of a company SNE is in Japan. I know like they can't be like tiny because they publish fucking Sword World.
Yeah, let me see here.
Which, for people who don't know the Japanese market, Sword World is one of the most popular TTRPGs ever, and up until like 2012 was the most popular TTRPGs in Japan. For some fucking reason, goddamn Call of Cthulhu of all things usurped that place in 2012. There's a lot of reasons for that, but it's been a couple of days since I watched that video, so
Yeah. Let's see here.
I do remember though that a big part of it was the flexibility in requiring combat or not, so people could just like not fight things if they weren't into that
Yep.
in Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, they did
And I do.
they did
Go
the
ahead.
translation of Dragonlance.
Oh, that's huge, actually.
But yeah, they're also a private company, which is why they're allowed not to do shit that would be bad, bad for creativity, but possibly good for short-term gains. Because yeah, it's listed right there, like type of company or
Yeah,
company
no, I
type,
think it said
private.
private KK,
Yeah, KK,
which like the KK thing is a Japanese acronym for something. I don't remember.
Sure.
Where you at? Come here. It is Japanese for Kabushiki Gaisha, which is a joint stock company, which I don't know exactly what that means because I do not have an education in business terms.
Oh, okay. So basically, they do have shareholders, but it might just be among the people of the company. So they could technically sell their shares to somebody else who is also a shareholder. Is what I'm getting out of this, but that's not what this is about. And also, we've lost the plot with Lodos War.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, going after the rod,
The
Cashew.
scepter of dominance.
Cashew is not satisfied that Parn is ready to go fight the dragon, so he says, "Stay the fuck behind, or rather, go your own way."
Yeah, because King Kashu gets a report from one of his soldiers that like Shooting Star, one of the ancient dragons that was around during the Gods' War that we see in the beginning of each episode, uh, has woken the fuck up and has started burning shit down.
Yeah, because we saw all the elemental dragons woke up, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, we gotta go put Shooting Star back in his fucking hole before he burns down literally the entire goddamn continent.
Yep. And then we see the Zero Wangrod and the new Carla. Same
Which
Steel
is, of
Carla.
course, Woodchuck.
Yep. And they don't change it
The
or
new
anything.
Carla, same as the old Carla.
Yeah, new Carla.
except for a man now.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of. But, talks that way that Carla has, but yeah, just like
They also changed his design and outfit enough that he actually does kind of look like Carla now, which is good.
yeah, like they did
It makes it easier to visually recognize that, yeah, this motherfucker is Carla now.
Yeah. She is such a fashionista. She did have to go and get some new duds because you cannot be a dark witch in what Woodchuck was wearing.
Yeah, Woodchuck just looks like some fucking hobo.
Yeah.
Which is basically what he was.
And
he was some fucking hobo with a lot of knives.
Yeah, Bazir Wangrod wants to resurrect the goddess Cardis.
Or unseal her or something.
Well, they used the word resurrect.
Yeah, I don't know the Japanese word that they used at the time, so I don't know if that's a bad translation or not. So,
yeah, and we get
but
more.
eventually they want to bring her back from something, whether it's death or sealing. But
Yeah, and Carla's like, you be careful with that, bud.
Mr. Bulkhead over here is of course like, fuck you, I know what I'm doing. Ah.
Yeah, and laughs with glowing red eyes, perfectly healthy.
Yeah, they're very healthy for your eyes there to have like bright crimson energy coming out of them.
Yeah, and then we get a commentary uh, between Ashram and Pictoress.
Pyrotes.
Pyrotess. Why am I keep saying Pictoress? Is that a word?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
At least not in English.
Okay, Pyrotess. Where she's like,
It's their fault for choosing weird names.
I'll get it eventually.
You know, you can really tell that Lodos War is like really old, non-English fantasy because the names make absolutely no goddamn sense.
Yeah.
But they do kind of slightly feel a little bit like Western names.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that they're supposed to be Western names, but they do not. They're not actual names.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of this video I saw of a couple of Arab gentlemen just really, really mimicking how they think English sounds. And it is mostly gibberish, except for like weapons and a couple other words that would be used about the region.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, just two guys having a giggle because, they hear, stuff on the radio.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even know where to begin making a sketch like that about like some other language. Like I genuinely, I don't think I could do it without actually researching the language.
Yeah, and the other problem is like it hits different coming from a Westerner, an English speaker talking about other
Oh, I was
languages.
just thinking like, I was just thinking about like the just the raw like how do you start writing a sketch like that?
Yeah. And I don't even know if they were writing a sketch or if those two dudes were just having a giggle. Like they looked like they were just sitting around and one of them went, "Hey, I can do a good impression of what the Americans sound like on a radio." And then they just turned on a phone camera or something. Anyway, Pyrotest basically says, "Yeah, I've got to head out. Wang Rod's got me doing something." And then she does something I find interesting, which is she cuts an injury into her, like just
It's just like a small cut.
Yeah, superficial cut, and says, "I will be back to you before this wound heals." Or by the time this wound heals, I'll be back.
Yeah, and we also get a little bit of information about the demon sword that Ashram picked up from Marmo. And whoever holds that sword, whoever is the wielder of that sword, is the ruler of Marmo. That's their fucking, like, that's their crown, essentially, is that sword.
Which, fair enough, if this is the Dark Realm, essentially. Fucking Demon Blade, I guess. And we get back to our fighter and our berserker. Which, yeah, they're definitely...
The mercenaries.
Yeah, the mercenaries who are definitely the replacement PCs.
For, Geem and Woodchuck.
Yeah, dollars to donuts, that's what happened. And
do you think Geem's player is the woman or the berserker?
Ooh. Okay, so if they're playing against type, then yes. Geem is the woman, and Woodchuck is the berserker.
That's okay. Yeah, I think I lean that way myself because they might want to try a completely different play style, right?
Yeah,
Because
like
that's what you kind of do when you die in a tabletop game. It's like sometimes you make roughly the same kind of character, but usually you'll try something completely different.
yeah.
And that may actually be why you sacrifice yourself in a fight for a dramatic moment, is because like, I'm kind of bored of playing this playstyle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do it. Which, who knows? Maybe that's why Woodchuck picked up the crown. Because if we forgot to
It
say,
fucking could be.
according to my housemate, he was told that in the original play by pose, yeah, when the original play, replay magazines, Woodchuck's player just takes the fucking crown.
No will save, just picks it up.
Yep.
Which, like, I can think of a lot of reasons why you would do that. One of them, what I just said, but also another one is just like, oh yeah, that'll be a fucking juicy drama.
Yeah,
I picked that thing up. No will save required. I'm just gonna pick it up and put it on.
Yep.
You don't even need to tell me what I'm gonna get out of this. I'm just gonna pick it up.
Yeah, he's got the gold lust in his eyes, and I decide I am picking that up. But
Although
yeah,
how it's depicted in the anime definitely looks like Woodchuck is like does not want to pick it up. He's just like, oh fuck, it's coming at me.
yeah, no, and fair the fuck enough, because Carlo was able to overwhelm someone with a lot more magical power than him.
Yeah, absolutely. What's her name? Lelia. There we go.
Yeah, but yeah,
Someone who was actually trained as a mage in a priest of the gods.
yeah. So I don't know if their playstyles would be that different between Game and our fighter lady here, but I think it is a different personality type, and same thing with Woodchuck and Berserker, though Berserker is definitely very different than Woodchuck's.
Yeah, Berserker is very different from any of the current party, honestly, or the previous party.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually kind of curious if there even is a way to make a Berserker in Sword World 2.x.
Good question.
I kind of want to ask the Discord.
Like, you can become a priest of the god of madness.
Yeah, but it's also not Huri in Rexia. It's Laris.
Yeah, like it is a different god.
Laris is a demon god, actually. In fact, people in the Discord think that Laris and Phalaris are the same entity.
Huh. To an extent, the Heritor could work. I think.
I think the Heritor is mostly for shapeshifters.
Yes, shapeshifting.
But the reason why people think Laris and Phalaris are the same god is because the demon world is the same one as in Forcelia.
Ah, gotcha.
The abyss is the same between the settings.
Gotcha.
And that's how people think that the Grass Runners got from Lodos to Alfred.
Got you.
It's just like stupidly dangerous to try and travel the worlds like that because you're going to be fighting off greater demons and archdemons all the time.
Let's see. So let's just thumb through the classes. So it wouldn't be Battle Dancer, Fighter.
Yeah, none of the classes like strictly have a Berserker thing, and none of the feats do it either. So I'm just like, I'm wondering if it's even possible.
Fighter's got the two-handed thing going on, so there is that. Like, you can get the feat to do two-handed weapon.
I don't know, but I gotta.
Oh, I was gonna say enhancers would probably be part of the kit.
It probably, yeah. I just can't think of anything that like gives you like a berserk status, you know?
Yeah, which I just don't think there is.
I think enhancer would have to be part of the kit just because like that's how you get your big dick damage.
Yeah, exactly.
It also just like makes you immune or very resistant to a lot of other shit if you're using the right techniques.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be right back because my housemate wants a fucking cup of coffee for some fucking.
All right, be back, folks.
Yeah. Hi, I'm back.
Hi.
We're back.
Yes, we are.
My cat got very mad at me when I tossed him off the back of my chair when I came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got very mad at me. Lay down.
But yeah, it looks like
Okay, buddy.
Sword Fighter Girl is maybe looking out for Parn.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I don't know if there's any actual like romantic tension there in the original replays, but like that's gotta be real weird if there is.
Yeah, yeah. Granted, I mean, who knows? They do have a different theater culture than we do.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Also, we see Pyrotess in
I just
a.
don't like floating at the table, honestly.
That's fair. They have Pyrotess and a couple of goons, essentially.
Yep, dark elf goons, nameless.
Yep.
Because apparently the only elves in this setting get names are women.
Yeah. And Kashu rides off.
Oh, like little, very small side tangent. But someone built Deedlit in the Sword World RPG system, and they gave her a fucking long sword.
Really?
I just want you guys to know that what Deedlit uses is not a long sword. It's like a side sword.
Yeah, it is not long enough to be what
Like
we would
it
call.
could like from its length be a bastard sword, which is slightly shorter than a long sword. But like the real problem is how fucking thin it is. Look at that thing.
Yeah,
It's so tiny.
yeah, that'd be a fencing weapon.
Technically speaking, long swords are also fencing weapons, just so you know.
Fair enough.
Because we even call it longsword fencing, not longsword dueling. It's fencing. Um, but a side sword is like the I think we talked about this on another
Yeah, we did.
episode a while back. But like it's a thin double-edged sword with a kind of minimal hilt for the most part, and crossguard and all that, which is exactly what she's using. She's using a side sword. Parn is using a long sword.
Yeah. So Ashram is going after the scepter, but also kind of going after the dragon.
Yeah, he wants to be a dragon slayer.
Yeah. Also, Grotess attacks Deedlit because they do need a sacrifice of a high elf of some stature.
For some reason, something to do with unsealing Cardis or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Fucking bowl cut advisor wasn't exactly clear on what the hell it was supposed to do, but that's fair because like you don't tell your own allies stuff that they already know for the sake of the audience.
Yeah. And thankfully, Berserker and Sword Fighter are there. And they help Parn get Deedlit. Which is double necessary because they do actually put Deedlit to sleep with magic.
Yeah. I thought that there was going to be a teleportation spell going on there, but no, she just like sort of passed out.
Yep. Yeah, you just see the lights go out.
They were probably like planning on keeping her asleep long enough to tie her up and then run off because like they need to get her unattached from the tree.
Yeah, and they get her down, and even Pyrotess is freaked out by the Berserker's weapon because it is a sign of fury.
Yeah, she like takes one look at this dude and goes, "Oh fuck, Huri!"
And
And the other Dark Elf was like, "Wait, what? Oh shit!"
Yeah, all right, time to go.
We're getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and we find out. Well, Harn gets to find out what we already know, which is Marmo is going to the same, with Ashram are going to the exact same place that Kashu is going.
And thus rides off with everyone else in tow as well to go warn Kashu.
Yes, and we get a look at the Dragon's Horde, and that is indeed a Dragon's Horde.
Like it's a good horde. Like that's a genuine horde right there.
Yeah. Then we get to episode 10.
Although they did use the exact same shot, the exact same image and still of the dragon in two different scenes
Yeah.
in this episode. Just one of them had like it was some really good backlighting because he was flying against the sun, and the other one not so much because he's in the volcano. And it's just like, you thought you could sneak that by me, didn't you? Guess not. And I guess you're not gonna. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I will absolutely notice this shit. You can't stop it.
Yeah. And then Harn, once he gets there, launches a fucking ballista bolt right into Dragon's eyeball here. And lightning strikes. Like,
if there was anything that was ever going to like convince you that Parn has protagonist powers because he's favored by the gods, it would be this or nothing at all.
yeah. Like, this is absolutely the gods favor you. You are a holy knight in all aspects.
Like at least the gods that like sided with Phallus fucking love you because like holy shit, dude. That is like pure luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the dragon saw the fucking bolt coming and like closed its eye to like catch it on the fucking like without getting stabbed in the eye, of course. And then a bolt just like comes out of the fucking sky and hits it and like drives it off. And it's like, okay, sure.
Yep. And
Fucking God's favorite have an ass.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And among the Dragon's Horde is the Scepter of Domination, which is why these groups are converging, on top of the sword wanting the dragon's blood. And yeah, the Scepter is interesting in that it is a rod and then a column of naked women, and then the end of it.
It's probably like the depiction of some gods or whatever.
Yeah, depiction of gods, or considering the domination, maybe the domination of humans.
Maybe. But it does also seem to control the dragon, so I don't know about that. All right, give me a good shot of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what it represents, but we also don't know everything there is to know about the Scepter of Dominance yet, so.
Yeah. And back in Marmo, one of the elf guards, reports back, yeah, she went to the mountain after the high elf escaped with a fucking paragon of the god of madness. But he's still all mad and said some misogynistic crap like she only went there because she's a woman.
Gross ass piece of shit.
He's like, you have the gall to return here, and sets his fucker on fire.
Sorry, I'm just checking Laris's spell list to see if there is like a go berserk, but I don't think there is. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. You can call a demon though.
Very nice.
You have a call demon spell, which is kind of cool. I like that. It's the we have warlocks at home spell.
Yeah, 3 lances. To defeat the dragon, they discuss over a table 3 lances, which you called something other than lances.
It's a lucerne.
Lucerne. Yeah, which I knew
Hold on,
those
I
weren't
got cracker in my
lances.
mouth. It's a lucerne. It's a. I think the hammer itself is named after the place it came from. Hold on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, it's named after the city in Switzerland. A lucerne is a pole hammer with a spike on the end.
Yep. Yeah. 3 lances possessed by the god of war of this setting, Miri.
There you go. This is what a lucerne hammer looks like.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Did it not go through?
There we go.
Okay, yeah. As you can definitely tell, like those are just like the same weapon, like just straight up a lucerne
Yeah, that
that
is.
they've got.
Yeah, which I've seen a lucerne before. To know,
You
like,
definitely have like they're in Souls
Souls.
games like all over the place. So
Yeah, they're in Souls games. I believe they were in some modded Skyrim stuff.
probably yeah.
But yeah, definitely not lances. I just could not remember what they were called. But lucerne, yes. So
Trying to
they're
get back to a
planning to
good
use
shot in the
holy
upside a little bit.
relics to seal the dragon's evil. There are priests forging new ones as they speak, following the example we talked about from the book of recreating older magical items to make new magical items. And Barnes again, like, take me with you. And Kashu's like, all right, you gonna listen to me? No heroics, no dumb shit. It's like, all right.
Just to compare and contrast them. The only real difference between the lucerne in the anime and the one that I showed you is like the thickness of the blade on like the spike, and then like the hammer shape, because the hammer
Yeah.
shape is like pronged on a real one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we get a little bit of Lelia's mom saying, yeah, shit's gonna get bad, real bad. Lane,
Yeah.
keep an eye out for her for me, please.
For those of you who don't quite want to Google it, because maybe you're just listening to this in the background, you can think of a lucerne as the hammer version of a halberd.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Instead of an axe head, it's got a hammer head.
Yep.
Still got the spike on the backside, and then there's a spike on top, just like with a halberd.
We get more Pyrotess and Ashram. Like, take me with you. And he says, well, what if you get in my way? She says, well, then kill me. All right. I mean, what can you fucking say to that?
Yeah, not a fucking lot, honestly.
So they have the Lucerns. Deedlit casts Flame Shield. Meanwhile, guards that are just outside mulling around get burned extra crispy by the dragon.
Yeah, because the dragon's like pretty mad at this point. He's just like super pissed.
All of these
He's awake and
monkeys
cranky.
are in my cave. Finally, Ashram and the party get into conflict. And that's when they see, oh, he's got the Scepter of Domination.
Yeah, he's got that thing under his cloak.
Because Parn cuts a little bit in his cloak and it gets revealed, and then the wind whips as well. And on top of all that, Dragon comes to shoot fire down before Ashram can use the fact that he's disarmed Parn. I'm sorry, Parn. You are now porn. Like, I'm sure that's been doing this throughout this whole thing, but...
Yeah, we haven't exactly been looking at the captioner.
Yeah.
I've just been checking it to make sure that it's not dead on me. That's it.
Yeah. But Dragon...
Sorry, buddy. You are now the porn knight.
Yeah. Dragon flies down, fires at Ashram, but Ashram can use the Scepter of Domination to just make the fire not hit him, which already shows how fucked this magic item is to have in the hands of somebody like that. And finally, Deela's able to say, hey, Parn, that literally is a magic item that he should not have. And then Pyrotus gets in trouble because the dragon knocked debris and knocked them both down. She's gonna fall down into the lava. He grabs her. One of Vizier Wangrod's grabs the Scepter of Domination.
It fucking leaves with the damn thing like a little bastard.
Yep, leaves with the thing and everything. We have the Berserker fucking jumping down and just stabbing the thing right between the eyes.
Which is honestly like genuinely a great shot, even by today's standards, of like this dude leaping off this fucking cliff and just like dive bombing this dragon straight in the forehead.
Oh yeah, this was absolutely like a money shot moment. Which I kind of wonder if the Berserker in appearance might have contributed to Guts from Berserk a little bit. Like specifically,
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, like I can't say that for certain, but like he has some of those intense looks that you kind of see later with something like Berserk. But anyway, stabs him between the eyes. Lightning also comes off of them.
Which is probably just like the holy energy of the lance, like doing its thing.
Yeah, more than likely. And then both Cashew and Harn stab with the other two. Dragon
it's
makes...
really just like you're pincushioning this fucking dragon's head.
Yep. Yeah, not a happy camper, and I can see why.
Although it is worth mentioning that Deedlit is not useless throughout this fight either. Like her magic is the reason why Parn and Cashew actually managed to get the stab in.
Yeah,
and why I can't even remember his name, but the berserker manages to get off the fucking dragon without dying.
Yeah, absolutely. Deedlit is super necessary in everything that is going on. Which, as they should be, because she is the primary caster in this scenario.
Yeah, because Slane isn't fucking here, and neither is Eto.
Yeah. And then Dragon lets out a burst of fire. It's going straight at Ashram, but Tess is able to block one blast.
Which, like, just even having enough magic to just block one gout of Dragon's Breath is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't seem, it seems like she probably uses more conventional magic. I don't think she uses fairies.
Probably not, no.
And we see.
Because usually dark elves in fantasy do not have access to fairy magic.
Yeah. Though in this case they would, at least if it's any. Yeah, they would, because I literally read it that they're still part of the Fae. They would just, have their shit.
Oh, I don't have the 1.0 books.
But yeah, and we get Tess saying, "For the conquest of Lodos." Again, affirming it's not just that she likes Ashram, she wants Lodos for her people. Granted, she appreciates that, cares about her. And everyone heads off as the cave collapses. And we do not see what happens to Ashram and Tess. All we know is the silent death meant something to Parn. I don't know what, but it does.
Yeah, because the narration says, he's like, oh, yes, it engraved upon his heart. And okay, sure.
Okay, but what? Like, we're not given enough
Yeah,
detail.
why is this important to him? Can he tell us? Can you tell us something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might see it in the next episode. So
yeah, maybe. But either way, what we know is Vizier Wangrod is about to get the Scepter of Domination, and that's not going to be good for anyone. Most likely, he's probably going to use the Scepter in the attempts to get a High Elf, whether that is Deedlit or someone else. And it probably will be Deedlit.
Yeah, because they I don't think they know, like,
any others?
Where any other High Elves are.
Yeah, like, she's the one who was curious enough to kind of look at what men are doing. And that's the end of the episode.
Give me that giant folder. Google, give me that folder of 1.0 translated books.
Yep. And you'll for everything with the Dark Elves and stuff, you'll look more at the Lodos book specifically.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And just for people who are like wondering where to get this stuff, the same translation group that did the 2.x and 2.5 books also did the 1.0 books. So
yep,
if you can find the one, you'll find the other.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the Sword World subreddit, you will find your way there. They are doing great work, honestly. Because SNE either doesn't have the funds or doesn't have the wherewithal to do it right now. And we want that Sword World. If you want to get some of these books early, you can buy the Japanese versions, show proof of purchase to the translators, and get it a little early.
Yeah, even for supporting group SNE in their work, they'll hand you the fan translated bit early.
Yeah, like several months early. in some cases.
Yeah. So I think they said 3 months for some of them, 2 months for others.
Yeah, so it's probably somewhere like
The one that we're really waiting on is comes out in June, I believe.
yeah,
They'll release it properly in June, which I
that's
am super eager for
yeah, because
because it's
that's
one
the
of the Bubble
fairy.
World books.
Yeah.
I think I misread the fairy one. I think what that was the re- uh, release of the actual book. The original Japanese book was at that date, and not that they
Ah,
had finished doing it at that date.
gotcha. But all
So
right.
we'll see.
Yeah,
But
so
to be fair, I could literally just read the 2.0 version isn't the 2.5 version. So if they even have it, I'm pretty sure there is. I vaguely recall there being one.
yeah.
It's like let me go take a look at that folder because it's Ursula, I think. World guides right here. Naturals. No, there's not. Fuck. Shit. Damn it.
Darn. All right. Well, uh
It's just me
anything
eternally swearing.
yeah. Anything we are looking at, or are we done with the episode?
Um, I know I had like some thoughts in my brain about looking forward to something. Uh, did I bring up the Two Perfect Saint during last stream? I know I talked to you about it in Discord, but I don't know if I talked about it on stream.
Yes, because we talked about
Right, yeah, because
how
I
her
gushed about
sister.
like her sister is gonna cause some fucking chaos. I am
Yeah.
so ready.
Oh, Kat told me something about Korean beauty standards that I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, right, yeah. Because Korea values clear, pale skin, so
Which
like
China does
having
as
freckles,
well to an extent.
and so does Japan. Like most of Asia does, honestly.
But yeah, they think freckles are unattractive, and I'm like, the fuck are you talking about?
Freckles are super fucking cute. Eat shit. Die in a hole. I
Yeah,
love freckles.
like I usually don't follow along with cats and mitts, but no, die in hole. But specifically, this is a Korean comic that has a very cute girl.
With a lot of freckles, yeah. It's just hard to see them in the in the ones that I sent you, in the snips that I sent you, because she's blushing so hard, it's actually covering up some of her freckles.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
blushing, and then there's morning light. Which
but yeah, I'm just sitting here like, I'm sure like this is why that like that's the point of having this character as be the main character of this particular comic is like the Korean author is just sitting there screaming, "Freckles aren't ugly. Fuck you. She's pretty."
yeah,
And she is super pretty. I love her. I adore her fucking design. It's great.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, yeah, no, I think we kind of talked about what I'm looking at and doing last week. I don't really have any extra things other than to say I might be looking at the 100 Girlfriends anime finally.
I don't know that I will. That's mostly because I'm generally not interested in that kind of thing.
That's fair enough.
Generally speaking.
Just this guy goes to absurd lengths to give these girls the love they deserve. So, like, he's kind of sometimes described as the Saitama of romance.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely heard that before.
So I'm willing to give it a shot, especially because I was told about characters that are pretty fun. So I kind of want to check it out. Uh, and
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
and I do love the bit in the manga popularity poll, which I don't know if they did an animated bit of that, but basically every girl present wins by an absurd amount that does not reflect the readership.
Huh. Amazing. That
Everyone,
implies, of course, that he went and voted for them all multiple times.
yes, everyone is best girl. Anything that you want to add?
Um, I had something. Um, my brain is failing me. I do remember that I was going to say that the next book to be released by the fan translation group is another Bubble World, and I really want to play it. I want to look at it. I want to get my grubby fingers all over it, and then make a character in that setting, and then immediately shove them into Monochromatica.
Yeah, yeah, because the other Bubble World is that has yet to come out is basically like Japanese fantasy, which I really like because Japan doesn't do a lot of Japan centric fantasy, like turning
Most
Japan.
places don't. It bothers me so much. Like, give me generic Korean fantasy land, just like I've got generic European fantasy land or something. Like give me that shit. I want it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't need this shit to be historical fantasy. Like, I want generic European, generic Korean, generic Japanese. I want all of it. Give me generic American for fuck's sake. Like, I don't care. Give me more settings.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want more. And like, of course, like I'm not advocating for, less generic European fantasy land because like I just said, I want that too. I want more of it all, please. Like I'm super excited for this fucking generic Japanese fantasy land to come out. The book is called The Land of Dragons Remnants or Remains. So one of the two. I think it's Remains. Because I always mix it up and keep saying like remnants, and it's not remnants, it's remains. But either way, like I really want to see it. And then there's this other one that I'm also looking forward to, which is the Fantasy World Academia, which is supposed to be probably a scenario or campaign book based in like some magic kingdom off to the fucking side where you like actually just go through school in this RPG. And I want that because I love the idea of playing a game that is actually just Wizard School without paying money to Turf Island.
Yeah, nothing to Turf Island.
And besides, like, Harry Potter's kind of garbage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like,
Like, that's gonna piss off a lot of Harry Potter fans, but like, I was also a Harry Potter fan. Go back and reread those books. They're not great.
they're not actually that good.
You will notice all sorts of awful shit in it now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure. Like, I dread the new television show she's trying to scrape together.
She's trying something new.
Oh
Gross. I
no,
don't
no.
want it.
What she's trying to do is make a television show of Harry Potter so she can replace the actors that, have
Oh
renounced
yeah,
her.
because like all of the actors have been like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, lady?"
Yeah, every single one of
Like
them.
I don't think any of the actors that were involved in any of the movies like are on her side. They're all just like, "Lady, shut the fuck up."
Yeah, the only one who even said anything in her defense, and it was before she went real off the handle, was the actor for Hagrid. And that was like in the early days of her like retweeting stuff. And then he passed away sometime later, and so we don't get his opinion on the later shit she said.
Like for people who don't actually keep up with her, including me, but like just people who haven't kept up with her at all over the past couple of years, the woman is downright unhinged.
Yeah, she is
Like
acting.
she's is saying some absolutely wild shit.
Yeah, she's saying wild shit, and also when a anti-trans law gets through the fucking Supreme Court, it takes a picture like a goddamn supervillain, and not in a cool way. Like, it is like, I don't know how she doesn't cringe into a corn cob kind of way.
Yeah, I don't. I have no idea.
Yeah, I have Zero clue.
But yeah, like I've
Oh,
wanted to go ahead. What?
they made this. Group SNE has made Goblin Slayer TRPG and an Elden Ring TRPG
Oh, sick.
and Armored Core
That
6.
fucks. Like, assuming they're like any good, like that fucks hard.
Right? I am especially interested, and I'll have to see if they have translation somewhere for the Goblin Slayer. Mostly because I want to mine some ideas for the spells, because the spells were interesting in that.
Yeah, with their incantations,
Yeah.
they had pretty good writers for the incantations of that. Although every time I think of Goblin Slayer, I can't help it now. I also think of Goblin Slayer abridged,
Oh,
and
yeah.
anytime I think of like Goblin Slayer spells specifically, I also just think of of Dwarf Shaman singing "Diggy Diggy Hole" as part of his fucking incantation.
Oh, I did not know that. That's great. I have not
Because like
watched the
Goblin
other
Slayer
show.
looks at him and goes like, "It's time." And he's like, "It's time for Diggy Diggy Hole." It's fucking wonderful. I
Oh,
love Goblin Slayer Abridged. It's some of the funniest shit imaginable.
yeah.
I quote it to Nate all the time because like he loves to say that I'm not his mom. So I quote the High Elf Archer during the one scene where she's very drunk and Goblin Slayer talks about that she's not an elf. And she goes, or not an elf, not a goblin. And she goes, "You don't know, I could change." Pukes everywhere. It's great. I love it.
Excellent. All right. Well, then I think that will be it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna talk about how much I wanted to run a fucking Magic Academy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like,
Because like I wanted to run that as a campaign or play through it as a campaign myself for so long that it's one of the first things that I made when I was first trying to like write adventure modules and shit without like running them. So I straight up made a like it's just like a fictitious academy and decided like yes like the some people will play teachers, some people will play students, blah 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 kind of deal. And I eventually like came up with like a fucking video game idea for it, but it never got anywhere, of course.
yeah,
If
yeah.
it did, I'd be hawking that shit right now.
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's just I really want like the magic tool shenanigans without the turf.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there
Without the
are.
turf and the racism, I just give me that, please.
Yes, please. All right.
Anyhow, that's
You,
it.
yeah, you
See you
guys,
guys later.
yeah, you guys know where the links are. Later.